Grays, my man, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
All right. We're live with the people right now. We are live right now. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning into the stream today. I'm joined today by my good friend and kind of colleague now, Graysfordays. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. Glad to be here on stream, man, for the first time. Get a little debut with Kargoz.
Hell yeah. No, it's a long time overdue, right? Let me make sure everything is updating okay. Like you guys can see the stream, right? Okay, good. Yeah, so real quick, guys. Sorry for the scuffed streams the past week. I think finally figured it out. I think we're okay. I'm not trying to jinx myself. Watch me jinx myself right now, but streamed yesterday for like 3 hours, and we were good. And I think we really got to the bottom of the issue. It was a hard drive issue. Just had to re-download all the programs, but we're back in business. Hopefully gonna have a much more stable experience now. So I appreciate your patience. Can Wailing Caverns be 3-man? We're gonna be talking about that, man. But
Yeah.
like I said, long time overdue. I've been really meaning to collab with Graysfordays for a while now. I really enjoy his content. If you guys haven't subbed to Graysfordays, you might want to check him out. Channel's just Graysfordays, right?
Yeah. It's just Graysfordays on YouTube and then Graysfordays on Twitch. I'm trying to stream, but it's few and far between at the moment. But yeah. So today, guys, we're going to be doing the Wailing Caverns dungeon guide. And I know you may came in thinking that it's just going to be a dungeon guide overview, which it is. But specifically, I've got ideas and plans for making this 2 to 3 man meta come classic, and completing the dungeons in a 2 or 3 man group, which is a totally different idea, totally different thought than anybody's come up with before.
Yeah. But real quick,
Yeah,
though,
so-
can you introduce yourself a little bit with your like your background playing the game? Maybe like what are you going to main in classic? I know a lot of people on the channel may not have heard of you yet, so I think maybe it'd be a good opportunity. Yep.
Yeah. So my name is Grayson. I go by Graysfordays. I just started making content in December of 2018 for Classic WoW. And then I reached out to Def Camp and Meldron. They got me on with...
You freeze up for a second there? Might have lost you on Discord for a second. I'm still here though, right, chat? We're good, right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we lost you on Discord for a second, but the stream's good. No drop frames, man. I'm just every time something happens, I get just like anxiety in my heart now, man. So if you just repeat the last like 20 seconds of what you said, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, so it was summer of 2005. My brother came home after staying with our uncle for 2 weeks, came home with World of Warcraft, a game that was going to change my life forever. So when I was 9 years old, I played in 2005.
9? Wow, okay, yeah. Wow, that's...
Yeah, so I mean, I go way back. I mean, I don't know. I only got to like level 40 in vanilla. I played through Wrath of the Lich King, and then from Wrath of the Lich King on, every expansion, I quit and came back, probably like a lot of you guys did. So that's kind of my experience, my background with Classic WoW. I didn't play private servers the last couple of years. I haven't been in that scene. I've always been intrigued by it, but the fact that vanilla is such a big time investment, I never could get myself to put the time in because I always knew that as a private server, it was just going to go away eventually, or it just wasn't going to hold as much weight as an official Blizzard server. So that's kind of my experience. I've been making content for Classic WoW because I freaking love the game. I'm a fanatic just as much as you guys are. And so, yeah, I'm making predominantly guide videos right now in preparation for Classic WoW, but I don't want to be just another streamer. I don't want to be just another content creator who's making guides. I really want to bring value to the community. And for some reason, so get this, and this is a good introduction to why we're doing this stream today, is I played, whenever I was 9 years old, I hit level 40, and I didn't raid in vanilla WoW. Dungeons were my rating. That's what I say all the time. And so for some reason, I just have a place in my heart for dungeons in vanilla WoW, probably because I spent so much time in dungeons. So that's the reason why I'm coming up with this dungeon meta that I want to bring to the community and that I want to introduce in Classic WoW that everyone can participate in. And we'll get into the details, but that's kind of my background. That's why I'm here, and that's what I'm doing with this dungeon guide series. So yeah, I mean that's a fair introduction, I guess.
So yeah, well, I mean, let's see some welcomes in the chat for Grays, guys. You know, another one of the, we don't do guests too often on the stream. I'm really gonna hopefully start doing that a lot more. I'm really excited for this stream. We were talking before we started, and we have some ambitions for this stream. So we're gonna get into your vision for the new dungeon meta that you hope to create. But one thing that we were talking about before this is we're also hoping to provide some, you know, not necessarily only approach this Wailing Caverns dungeon guide from the perspective of only doing it in a two-man, three-man type thing, like, this is just going to be helpful in general. You're going to come away from this with a lot greater understanding of Wailing Caverns, and there's some really juicy nuggets. So even if you're trying to speed level, you're trying to get ahead of the pack, you're trying to be hyper efficient and go super hard when Classic releases, we're going to present to you guys some really interesting lines of play that you might want to consider and take into account, and it may be worthwhile to run Wailing Caverns, even in that kind of min-maxed environment. But Graysfordays, take it away, man. Explain to the people your vision for this new dungeon meta.
Absolutely. Okay, so like Kargoz said, we're going to go over pretty much everything you need to know about Wailing Caverns. Now, this dungeon meta that I want to introduce to the community, the reason I want to bring it is I want 2 to 3 man group compositions clearing dungeons, because back in the day, I heard of my 2 uncles who used to play WoW. They 2-man dungeons. They 2-man Nomer with a warrior, with a hunter and a paladin. And that's the first time I'd heard about it. And then, of course, they did duo druids clearing dungeons, just as 2-man. And it was a really interesting idea. And whenever Classic was coming around, for some reason, I wanted that achievement. And I'm going to main druid in Classic, and so I wanted to go through dungeons with another druid and just 2-man the dungeon. And that's kind of where this idea started. And then I was like, we might as well make an entire meta around it. Like, and some of the reasons I want to do it, personal goals, the accomplishment of going through clearing all the bosses in a 2-man group composition at a level that's, you know, at level 20 or so, not level 30, 40 for Wailing Caverns. The unknown in 2 to 3 man group compositions. We don't know a lot of the advantages, a lot of the benefits of clearing these dungeons in 2 to 3 man groups for the experience gain, some of the loot gains. You don't have to share loot with everybody. So while it may take longer to clear dungeons, it's not predominantly going to be speed leveling, but it's something that you can take into account. It's something that you should consider. The endless amount of theory crafting with these 2 to 3 man group compositions. Like, think about this. Normally in a 5-man group, you don't worry about stuns. You don't worry about cure poisons. Well, if you're only in a 2 or 3 man group, all of a sudden you have to cure that poison. Heals are a lot more important. You know, people are going to die a lot quicker. So this brings relevancy to spells that you normally wouldn't use in a 5-man group, right?
I love that. Just to chime in too, like, it almost reminds me of almost like PvE twinking. And as you guys know, if you've been following the channel, I'm just in love. I'm just so infatuated with this concept of duo leveling and group leveling, and how the hardcore incentive is aligned with the social incentive. So not only is something the most efficient thing to do, but it's also the most fun and a great way to experience the game. So I see a lot of parallels there between like twinking in PvP and almost like a modified sort of meta for PvE dungeons. And that's the thing, like, vanilla WoW is so sandboxy that we as the community can choose how we want to engage with the world, right? Like, we can create this cool little meta, and we have all the tools to make leaderboards and to flesh it out. And if Graysfordays wants to spearhead like a 2 and 3 man dungeon meta, count me in, man. I feel like that'd be so much fun to explore all the possibilities. In the same way that duo leveling, you're getting different talents, you're getting different professions. Could be some really interesting stuff. Sorry to cut you off, though. Keep it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And also it creates, so whenever you go from dungeon to dungeon, you're gonna respec. You know, whenever you go to each dungeon, you're gonna need maybe a spec that has more importance on like stunning mobs and stuff like that. So the theory crafting is endless. Also, whenever the reason I do this is people say, oh, the game gets old, or it's recycled content, or you just get to in-game rating. Guys, like 40-man rating, I think making plays in a 2 or 3 man group and clearing a dungeon with your boys in a 2 or 3 man group could be so much more gratifying than a 40-man raid. That's just my opinion, and so that's another thing that let's
stop here for 1 second. I'm actually really curious. I like getting a little bit of engagement in the chat and seeing where people are at. So all things considered, guys, where does your heart lie towards dungeons and vanilla? Do you enjoy it more than raiding, or do you enjoy the 40-man? What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a straw poll in the chat. You can vote for if you like a 20-man raid best, if you like a 40-man raid, or if you like dungeons best. Is your favorite preferred, like, what do you have the most fun doing? What is the question? I guess just preferred, right? Preferred.
Yeah, preferred dungeons or raids.
Group,
yeah.
PvE. Setting, I'll say. We'll do 20-man, 40-man. Some people love the 40-man, though. I mean, that's their favorite. So, I mean, that's probably going to be the majority, I'm assuming.
I don't know, man. I think people are going to... If it was my bet, obviously my heart goes towards dungeons, but yeah, just imagine making plays in a 2 or 3 man group composition, dude. And correct me if I'm wrong. I really don't have any experience raiding in classic, in vanilla, so I can't speak on this. But I almost feel like doing some plays in raiding is more stand here, stand there, press your buttons and your abilities in a 2 or 3 man group composition, dude. Especially as you're going to be playing a lot of utility classes, a druid. You're going to be tanking, healing, and DPSing all at the same time. You know what I mean? And if you have the Torn racial, you're going to be war stomping, you're going to be stunning, you're going to be doing all these small, you're going to be micromanaging so many more things than you would in a 40-man group. And like I said, the achievement, the gratification you get from that, I feel like is going to be, it's going to be huge. It's going to be so much cooler, and it keeps the game fresh. Like I said, I hate whenever people say it's going to extend the lifetime of classic WoW. Like, you're always going to have something to do, and that's another thing. Here, can you go to the next slide, Kargoz?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Oh, and real quick, guys. Well, I'll after I present this slide, I'll say it. But
real quick, let me jump into. So your boy Kargoz here knows his way around a PowerPoint at this point, right? I've done my fair share of these damn things, and I have to say, Graysfordays makes one hell of a PowerPoint. Really enjoy it, man. But anyway,
learning from the best, dude. Absolutely. Yeah. So establishing a new meta, guys. I want to see this thing be huge. Like I want to see speed. We could make speed running out of this. We could make achievements out of this. Like, you could be the only 2-man group, druid, double druid, that cleared every boss in Wailing Caverns, right? And that would just be an achievement. You'd be the only group to do that, and you could have video proof of that. And eventually, I see us having a website for this, or add-ons that could track speed running. Or like I'm probably gonna do like weekly highlights. People are gonna do video submissions and show me your time to run and who has the best group composition. You can show me your spec. You can show me how you got through these groups. The possibilities are endless, and
really,
I can see myself.
And think about it. There's 9 classes, 3 specs for each class, and a bunch of different ways you can actually play the class and spec. Right? There's various different play styles. And much in the same light of why I'm so excited by group leveling and have this new meta, I can totally see how there's be a new meta with if you wanted to try in 2 or 3 man dungeons. But I also think these two things kind of have some crossover. So one thing I'm really, really eager to try on my own channel is pretty much once the game comes out, I'm thinking about speed running to see what group can clear out Wailing Caverns or Ragefire Chasm or Dead Mines the fastest. So, you know, we get a couple different dream teams. You assemble your finest. Imagine it's you and me, Grays. You're going to be tanking, right, as the druid. Imagine I'm playing Hunter or something like that. And we're trying to race another 5-man team. Let's see Def Camp and Melderon. They have their group together, right? And Def Camp's on the Priest. Melderon's on the Shaman. And they're racing us. And we're trying to get in there as early as possible and to complete. So the goal is to clear Dead Mines, you know, a seemingly innocuous, low-level dungeon as fast as possible. It's just I'm just throwing that out there because that's like something you can do with the dungeon meta, which is really excites me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with the information in this guide, I broke down all the abilities of each mob in the zone. You have the mob count for all the things, so you're going to be able to theorycraft all your things whenever we go through this. But the biggest thing on this dungeon meta that I want to bring to the community, the biggest driving point is everyone can participate. This isn't locked to your realm. You don't have to play on the same server as me. I imagine this being video submission. You could, and everybody does dungeons, right? You're gonna, from 1 to 60 during the leveling process, everyone's gonna get in dungeons. And if people say, "Oh, 5-man groups, 5-man dungeons are easy," well, if you want to make your leveling experience, you know, more of an achievement, dude, get in there with your other buddy. You got 2 other friends, do a 2 or 3 man dungeon run, time it, send it in, and see how well you do. And
you're making something that wasn't a thing before a thing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And you can sink your teeth into it. I love it, man, personally. I mean, it's another way to enjoy the game. So someone asked earlier in the chat, why would you want to do it? Like, well, why would you want to twink in Classic? It's so much fun. It's a whole new, like, meta for that bracket. You know, certain classes have don't have access to certain skills and stuff like that, you know, and it just creates a really exciting thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and so let's go ahead and just jump into this guide. As we go in, guys, I need everyone to get their thinking caps on. Like, I really need you to think. I'm gonna link these slides in the chat, but
nice.
At the end, we have all the abilities. Oh, that might not be it.
Yeah, we'll go to the next one, right? Well, we start with the quest, right? Are we gonna hop right into the quest?
Yeah, we're gonna hop right into the quest, but okay. I'm just gonna put this here. That was the wrong link.
Okay,
so everybody can look at the
So the straw poll, man,
How'd this show
five-man
up?
dungeons won by a landslide, over double. 61% of people actually prefer a 5-man dungeon setting. It's very intimate, right? When you're running a dungeon, man, like it feels like you have so much impact on the group flow. You're kind of getting to know these people too. Like a lot of the personalities and communication get lost in translation in a 40-man raid. You almost have to just be quiet and you know, listen to 1 or 2 people just for the sake of efficiency, because everyone talking at once is going to be, you know, a clown fiesta. So I do really love the 5-man dungeons as well. And if I had to pick the single point of time in my entire history playing World of Warcraft where I had the most fun, it wasn't even in vanilla, believe it or not, even though I think vanilla is my favorite version of the game by far. The most fun I ever had was in high school. Wrath of the Lich King was out, and I was 5-manning dungeons, farming frost badges with my roommates from high school. I went to a boarding school, and we were 5-manning dungeons together, and it was just the most glorious experience. I thought it was so much fun. We would run a bunch of dungeons, get frost badges, and we'd break and go order pizza and eat barbecue chicken pizza with onions, and then go back and play some more. So not to go off on a tangent, but dungeons have a special place in my heart too as well, Grace. But anyway, yeah, so we're gonna get into the quest now. Is that how you structured it, right?
Yeah, we're gonna go through the sliding.
Okay.
Okay, so the quest we have for Wailing Caverns, there's 7 total quests. There's 5 neutral ones.
Holy shit, dude. 1 second. What just happened, dude? Look at this shit in Twitch. Do you see this?
What's happening? Oh, everybody's subscribing? Is that what you're talking about?
Dude, Sarmonican gifted 50 tier 1 subs? 50? Dude, that is insane. Look at this. It's the entire chat is filled up with tier 1 subs. Oh my god, dude.
That's live.
Holy crap, man. Sorry to interrupt you, man. That is insane. Thank you so much, Sarmonican, dude. What a freaking legend, man. Jeez.
Hell yeah.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. Thanks again, man. Holy moly.
Yeah, guys, so whenever we're looking at this, there are 7 total quests for Wailing Caverns. You have 2 Horde-specific ones and 5 that can be completed by the Alliance. There's a couple different things you can look at whenever we're going through this. The next slide is we have on the bonus quest.
Okay, the bonus quest. So are these outside of the 6? This is 7 and 8?
No, so this is the 7th one.
Okay,
but
so there's 7
I consider
total.
it a bonus quest, and it's really not a bonus quest. Everybody knows about it, but I remember back in the day whenever I was running through Wailing Caverns, we never finished. I never woke up Naralax. I think that's his name. I never completed this last boss for the longest time. After we killed Verdun the Everliving, everybody would just Hearthstone out, and so that's why I consider it a bonus quest. But the Murloc, he drops a glowing shard, which ends up giving you a pair of shoulders or some boots. So let's go through. Yeah, let's go through each quest.
Okay,
I'm sorry, this is kind
we
of hard
will.
with you.
We got a dude. The subs are going crazy. Oh man, I don't even know how to turn off the subs, man. But sorry guys, but dude, I mean it's worth it, man. Sarmonican, dude, what a legend, man. OG Jeffrey also subscribed to tier 1. This is crazy. This is crazy, guys. You guys are too kind, man. The love is real. Man, what it. But I have to say, real quick, Grace, the way you laid this out, man. Like, let me try and zoom out a little bit because I feel like it's getting a little bit blocked on the. Let me try and go to like. Is there a way I can go to like 120, maybe 100. Let me see how this looks on the stream. I mean, I guess they can more or less see it. We'll just put it to 143. Dude, the way you laid this out, man, is so clean. You look at this slide and you're like, whoa, there's 7 quests of Wailing Caverns. Boom. That's just like, you drop the gavel. Now we know, you know, 7 quests in Wailing Caverns, such an easy thing to wrap your mind around. You have this kind of visualization too. Like, if you were to just list these quests out just by the text,
Right.
It wouldn't have as much impact. But the fact you kind of visually lay it out too, man, I don't know. I really enjoy that.
So that's the other thing, guys. Whenever I make these guides, whenever I put these presentations together, I try to put the information in a way that you can theorycraft your best way to use the guide. Whenever people make guides, and it's fine, and I kind of have to do this because of my position. I can't tell you the best way to do something, the end all to making a guide, the end all to doing a Wailing Caverns dungeon run. But if I give you all this information, you can come up with a new leveling route. You can come up with new strategies. Like, check this out, guys. Because we have these quests laid out on this guide, you can see that you can complete 4 quests outside of Wailing Caverns, which is huge. So think about this. And I don't necessarily point it out in the guide.
4 quests outside of Wailing Caverns.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I don't point this
So
out
the
in the guide,
majority of quests, you're saying, because there's 7 quests, right? So you can complete them. Guys, this is value, dude. Listen to them. 4 out of the 7 quests you can complete outside of Wailing Caverns.
Yeah, guys, so, and that's the thing. You don't even have to run Wailing Caverns. If you don't want to put a 5-man group together and you don't think it's worth it, if you're speed leveling, if you run out of quests in the Barrens or you're in the Northern Barrens, this gives you an additional 4 quests. You can get together with a buddy. You can complete the Serpent Bloom, the Deviant Hides, the Smart Drinks, and Trouble at the Docks, all with a 2-man group composition. And you're going to be killing elites, which means you get 200% experience gain for each elite mob killed, and you get those 4 additional quests, as well as the quest rewards with those 4 quests. And one of those is like a 10-slot bag, and I think you just get money for the other ones. But that's something you don't think about. Nobody ever points that out, but because it's laid out on this guide, you can come up with those kind of leveling routes. You can come up with those different ideas. And so I just want to point that out. Whenever I put this information together, I try, and you'll see at the end, guys, the way I list the abilities, you can do so much more with this guide than I present, and so much more than I'm telling.
I love it. You're like, Vanilla WoW is a sandbox, and your guide is a sandbox. Like, you can do what you want with the guide, you know? Like, just... And one thing I'll say, and let me ask the chat, what's the best item out of Wailing Caverns, guys? What do you guys think? Just as a little
Absolutely.
My ADD is killing me trying to pay attention to the stream without the subs. That's funny, dude. Sarmonic and dropping bombs, man, with the 50 freaking subs. What's the best item? What's the best item out of Wailing Caverns, boys? You know, just personal opinion. Is that a Super Mario 64 coffee cup? Yes, it is, man. Check this out. I'm drinking wine out of a coffee cup. I told Grays right before we started the stream, I'm all out of booze, dude. I'm all out of, like, everything to sip on. So I had to crack some white wine, which is not my favorite, and sip it out of a Super Mario cup. Yeah, good catch
nice,
there.
Dude. Everybody's pointing out the 10-slot bag. That's a huge item, though.
Ooh,
for sure.
They're thinking outside the box, huh? Yeah, the 10-slot bag, huh? Bang set, nah. I mean, the bow's pretty good, but you know what the best item is? At least IMO. Best item, man, is Crescent Staff, dude. It's a quest reward. So, you know, even when you're at end game, when you're at 60. And you're trying to go about getting your pre-bis, right? The order of operations, at least in my opinion, is to go for the stuff that's a guaranteed drop, right? It makes sense. Like, to get the stuff that's 100% of the time you're going to be able to get. It's the same thing when you're doing weapon progression. So whatever class you are, whether you're going for wands or staves or two-handed axes or whatever it is, prioritizing stuff that's a guaranteed, a guaranteed acquisition is going to be better. And Crescent Staff is a phenomenal weapon given the level bracket. And anyways, just keep going.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the quest, and the next 5 slides you'll see I show you where and how to pick them up and complete them. But let's go ahead and look at the quest reward slide and the quest notes. So let's look at the quest notes for now, and I'll talk on that for a second.
Quest notes. So I see these bonus quests. Are we going into the individual quests here?
It's 13, sorry. Slide 13.
13. Quest notes. Okay, great. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so... like I pointed out earlier, there's 4 quests you could do outside of Wailing Caverns, so you don't even have to run the instance to get some of the benefits of these quests. And just some things to think about, guys, and this is really for your benefit. There's 2 quests above Wailing Caverns, 2 quests in Ratchet. One of them requires a prerequisite, so that's something to think about. A lot of times you'll see people without that. I think it's the Smart Drinks quest, because there is actually a prerequisite to get raptor horns, right? And so that's something to think. That's something to put into your leveling route. Make sure that you go to Ratchet and complete that quest beforehand, so whenever you put a Wailing Caverns group together, you don't have to scramble, and you'll have time to get that raptor quest.
Horns. Which one is that? Is that where you need like 5 raptor? Like, you just kill raptors, dude, and get...
And regardless of the drop rate on private servers, everybody knows how bad the drop rates were for those mobs in the Barrens, like whether it was the Plane Strider Beaks or the Zebra Hooves. I think the Raptor Horns fall in that category as well. So you could spend up to like 30 minutes trying to get the prerequisite done for that Wailing Caverns quest. So that's something to note. Yeah, and like I said, the fact that you have your own mini dungeon outside of Wailing Caverns, being able to complete 4 quests and get that bonus 200 experience from the elite mobs in a 2-man group composition. So this could be a huge boost to your leveling route, for a level up, for half a level, right? Mm-hmm. Some other things to think about, guys. Some of the quest benefits of running Wailing Caverns are the fact that tanks are guaranteed a sword, possibly a board combo, right? There's 2 different. You get the white Crush's back. Crush drops he has 2 different shields. He drops a white shield at 90% and a blue shield at 10%, and then Verdun the Everliving drops a blue shield at like 40%, right? So
I didn't know Crush Shield was only 10% though. That's a lot lower than I thought. Did you guys know that? 10%? A little bit lower.
I know the fact that he always drops a shield, you probably just thought that he always dropped Crush's back. But yeah, dude, I mean, you never see that Crush's back apparently. Or those aren't official numbers, but I looked at a couple databases and
yeah, Classic DB is a little bit wonky, but I feel like they're generally kind of like somewhat right, you know, with the ballpark estimate.
Right. And guys, as you can see, the way I laid this out, I have the health and everything else listed for all these mobs. This guide is going to be updated. That's why it's on Google Slides. Whenever it comes out, all these numbers, all the statistics, these statistics for the drop rates are kind of just placeholders at the moment. That's just the nature of the guide. You had to put something there.
I mean, the thing is, dude, I mean, honestly, dude, I really appreciate what you're doing here because people watching right now can walk away from this guide and say there are 7 quests in Wailing Caverns. I now know that for the rest of my life. 2 of which are Horde, 4 of which I can complete outside of Wailing Caverns. That's valuable, dude. And then what you said a second ago, the Raptor Horns quest, complete that before doing Wailing Caverns. This is stuff that people can take to heart and just like have that in their back pocket when they go about questing for real, like in real Classic, you know, like
and
this is
and
really
I know
good, man.
Yeah, I know that it seems like I might just be, you know, reinventing the wheel. Or it seems like, why are you making a dungeon guide and listing the quests? I think, like you were pointing out, Kargoz, I put it in a way that you can really theorycraft new leveling routes. You can theorycraft new reasons to run this in a 2 or 3 man group composition, certain loot drops. And so, yeah, so a tank is guaranteed a sword with that, the Horde at least, they're guaranteed a one-handed sword. So you could also get a blue shield during the dungeon as well.
Which one is that? Is that the, don't you have to
favorite
choose?
stream so far?
Oh,
at
see, you would go.
Graysfordays, love
you
your
would take
treasure
the Crescent
chest
Staff,
video.
Though, Kargoz, my bad. So
Definitely
you're really not.
taking LVL1 into
I'm really
Western
dreaming whenever we talk
Plaguelands
about
come
that.
classic.
Favorite stream so far, Graysfordays, love your treasure chest video. You got some fans in the house, Grays, dude. Saint
Hey,
Sacred, always
the
with the
treasure chest
donos,
video.
man. With the 10. Thank you for the 10, dude.
Dude, that's hilarious that you like those treasure chest videos because that was the first series of videos that I did, bro. And they were they weren't the highest quality. I thought they were pretty good at the time. But I love that you love that, dude. I love that you pointed that out, man. Nobody really sees them. They don't have very many views. But yeah, I tried to do the treasure chest videos, at least for all the starting zones. It's cool you point that out.
Dude, you're one of the most underrated content creators in all of YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, dude. Your work ethic is phenomenal. I'm not trying to shill too hard here, boys, but sub it to Grays, dude. Grays, look at this guy, dude. Look at this PowerPoints. Better than my PowerPoints, man. Freaking amazing. 7 quests going into Wailing Caverns, man. Like 2 of which are Horde, 4 of which you can complete outside. Do the Raptor quest. One thing I will say though, guys. So you know how much I love duo leveling, right? I'm kind of spoil it a little bit. Like, I'll spoil this a little bit. I was hoping to keep this in my back pocket, but Crescent Staff is phenomenal. So check out Crescent Staff, guys. Check this out. Check this out. This is me through my mind. I'm thinking to myself, goddamn, look at this Crescent Staff. Spirit is awesome in the early levels. 20.3 DPS, good top end damage. It's relatively slow. It's not the slowest thing ever, but most weapons in this level range are like 2.5, 2.4. So Crescent Staff is juicy, right? So if you look at my Shaman guides and my Warrior guides, check this out. Weapon progression, right? As a Shaman, you're going to be doing weapon progression with the Staff most likely. Same with the Warrior. So if you're going to duo level as a Shaman Warrior, and you can both get a guaranteed quest reward with Crescent Staff, and you can go into Wailing Caverns and knock it out and be the tank and healer, the 2 most important pieces of the puzzle to make sure the group is not going to be an epic fail. To my mind, it seems it's like actually worth it, man, because check this out. This is literally what you're having instead. Where's the, let's see. This is Shaman, right? We're going to look for the, progression. All right, well, I can't find it right now, but let's look at Warrior. It'll be under the Warrior. But pretty much the weapons you're going to have instead of Crescent Staff at these early levels, you're going to have like 15 DPS or something like that. Like 15, 14 DPS, right? So then Crescent Staff alone, if you were a solo warrior out in the world, if you were a solo shaman, it's probably not going to be worth it to go and risk going into a Wailing Caverns run that could backfire, and then you're going to lose hours and hours of time. Like, these dungeons in vanilla take a long time. You're just one part of this machine. But if you're duo leveling Shaman Warrior, and you can both get a guaranteed Crescent Staff coming out of that with Spirit on it, to my mind, it honestly seems absolutely worth it. What do you guys think, chat? Do you think if you were duo leveling Shaman Warrior, that's like a BIS weapon for the level range. You can go and get a guaranteed quest reward. You can go in there, knock out the bosses you need, and then just leave and get this 20-point-something DPS weapon.
Right. Yeah, as early as level 18, honestly, which is huge.
Yeah.
huge.
So-
Yeah, 20 DPS compared to 17 at level 18.
Let me see if people can see this on the stream. So check this out, man. Like, what is this little... There's a little weird thing on the... There's a little, like, weird little, say it live thing on the screen. That's weird. Anyway, so you see this Samaflange screwdriver, 12.6 DPS, level 15. This is the stuff that you're around the same level range of. Blessed Claymore. Let's check out Blessed Claymore, guys. This is something you obtain at level 17. Requires 17. This is about the level range. And this is from the Traveling Vendors. This is sold by Antonio Pirelli. These guys that are just the traveling vendors that sell the limited items. This is pretty much your best bet as far as a warrior, leveling a warrior is concerned. 14.6 DPS, plus 7 stamina, right? Really good weapon.
They can't see that, Kargoz. They can't see the weapons.
Oh, it's 2 over to the right? Oh, man. Yeah. Well, just, I mean, you don't need to necessarily see it. It's 14.6 DPS, called Blessed Claymore. It's a BOE green. This is what you'd be getting instead. Instead, you could be getting Crescent Staff, 20.3 DPS with plus 7 Spirit, plus 7 Stamina on it. And the crazy thing, it's not like BFD. In BFD, when people have to go get Gravestone Scepter, they have to go way out of their way and go all the way to the freaking Night Elf land. Wailing Caverns is right there in the Barrens. Like, you're already there. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a huge hassle to go get this. And the fact that both of you can get Crescent Staff, I could talk about this forever, but I really think you're onto something with these guides, because this guide made that come to mind for me, and I might actually, you know, factor that into my own leveling plan, man.
For sure. Yeah. It's not just a novelty thing. The, you know, 2 or 3 man group compositions, putting these guides together and seeing all this information laid out. Oh, it's really going to change your leveling route and some of the ways that you experience the game. So let's go ahead and look at the bosses now, and we'll talk on that a little bit.
Okay, bosses. All right. And I just want to look at all these slides, though, dude. They look so good, man. All right, let's go to that's quest rewards. Ooh, we should come back to that at some point. Bosses. Here we go. Bosses. So how many bosses on there are there, Grays, in Wailing Caverns?
There are
quite a few.
There's 8. There's 8 primary bosses, and then there's 8 primary bosses. And there's a rare spawn, and then 2 outside of the dungeon. So you have up to 11 mobs that you could get loot from, I guess.
Yeah, that's a lot of bosses, man. So there's like 8 like main bosses, and then there's some rare spawn kind of optional bosses, sort of like, or stuff that may or may not spawn.
Sure. Okay, so look at this, guys. I put each boss on its own slide because whenever we're going through the dungeon, I really imagine you using this in a 2 or 3 man group composition. You want to know every boss's health, their armor, their damage, and their attack speed. And you're probably in a 2 or 3 man group composition, you're probably going to have more trouble with the mob density. You're going to have more trouble with the mobs, but some bosses, you're going to want to know their abilities. And, you know, whether, like, if you know the amount of armor that they have and you've got a warrior in your group, you can use Sunder Armor. If they don't have a lot of armor, it may not be worth it to use Sunder Armor. You know, different things like that. Their attack speed, maybe you kite them more. But just different things like that. So, and as you can see, I don't have the numbers in there for the armor and the health. I think those numbers aren't official. We don't know the armor values as well. So, again, this guide is always going to be updated. And so that's the advantage of having it on Google Slides as well. Mm-hmm. But that's just something to think about. So imagine going through here with a 2 or 3 man group composition, and you've got your freaking dungeon guide pulled up, and you go, oh, we come up to Kresh, or we come up to Lady Anacondra. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Lady Anacondra.
Lady Anacondra.
Now, what's really neat about these is, and I love this whenever I was going through it, is you can look at each boss and their abilities. I've got their abilities laid out. So some bosses have Lightning Bolt. Lady Anacondra has Thorns, which is unique to her compared to some of the other bosses. Of course, she has a Sleep and a Healing Touch. And like the Healing Touch, all the bosses, they have different healing touches. And she can't heal herself, but it heals a friendly target. And I'm almost positive that's how it works. But that's what her heal is specifically. So you can Theorycraft your Thunder Stomps around this. In your sleep, of course, she has a different sleep ability than one of the other bosses, and that's just something to point out. And it's really cool. You've literally got a dungeon guide right next to you. It's like,
I don't think anyone's laid it out like this, dude, to show the actual dungeon boss abilities like this, where you can interrupt the sleep. It feels like a strategy guide. Yeah, it feels like I'm looking at a freaking strategy guide. And so you have the full loot table there. It's amazing, man.
Right. And the reason I made this, guys, is because this is what I want to look at whenever I run through dungeons. Whenever I get to a boss, I want to be able to pull up a sheet. And I know, some people say that takes away from the experience in one way or another. But, it's a game 15 years later. I think it could enhance the experience. depending on how you look at it. But
Yeah, real quick, Tankerino is asking if does the Ratchet Waterfall weapon crate have a level requirement to open? No, it does not, man. And it's going to be an interesting thing because in a sharded environment, you may have access to, multiple shards may have multiple weapon crates. And Grays, you did that video on it, dude. I love your video on that. If you guys don't know, you could take the hidden path, jump down. There's a little waterfall there. There's a weapon crate that has a gray item in it that can sell for quite a bit.
What?
So it might be an interesting consideration considering that the starting areas, at least upon the initial couple weeks, might be sharded, right?
Yeah. Dude, and it's really funny because in that video I pointed out, I was looking at the databases, weapon crates, and there's 3 tiers of weapon crates. It's actually, and it's funny, no one looks at this and points it out, but it's a tier 2 weapon crate, which is crazy. It really feels like someone put it there on purpose. And the reason for doing something like that would be that the gray items are higher level and they vendor for so much more. So you can literally find items that vendor for 20 silver right off the bat from that weapon crate. Think about that. Create a new character and you get 20 silver instantly, dude. That's enough silver for your abilities all the way up to level 10, right?
No joke. No joke. I mean, it could be like 40 silver too, right? Like on the top end, right? Isn't it? Something like that?
Yeah. So that weapon crate is nuts. And yeah, dude, sharding, I mean, this isn't the video, this isn't the stream for that discussion. Maybe we could talk about it at the end, but yeah, dude, there's going to be some crazy strategies that you could kind of manipulate the sharding issue with.
I love these slides though, because like a lot of people run dungeons for gear, right? And like just being able to get a clear picture of the loot table for each boss too is so nice, man. It's very, very valuable stuff. Okay, so next boss, Lord Cobran.
Yeah, so Lord Cobran, he has a poison that's different than Lady Anacondra, and he has his Cobran serpent form, right? And so again, these are things that you can consider when putting together. These abilities can become really problematic in a 2-man group, right? If you've got a 2-man group, you really need to be able to combat certain things. Like in a 3-man group, if you come in here and we'll talk about it, you really want a shaman with his Tremor Totem because there's so many sleeps. These Druid of the Fangs, they're spread out, and we need to get to that slide, but they're spread out throughout each mob and each section of mobs. So you're going to be getting sleeps every single encounter that you have, basically. So these abilities are really heightened whenever you do the 2 to 3 man group. And that's the other thing. That's why I'm so excited about doing this, is because it's not these theory crafting things, these ideas, these abilities, they're not really relevant in a 5-man group composition. Whenever people say this is the best 5-man group for this dungeon, I'm like, it's kind of crap, dude. Like, you're wasting your time putting together the best 5-man group, because I feel like you can go through any dungeon with any 5 people and you're going to be fine. Obviously, mages are useful with their crowd control and rogues with sap and things like that, but this really puts importance on different mechanics of the game and different ideas of theory crafting. So I don't know. That's just something I'm excited about.
I love it, man. Pudding Cup 19 subscribed to Twitch Prime, dude. Thank you for joining the channel. Welcome, man. The water is fine. Chilling out with Graysfordays today. What are you drinking, Grays? Is that water?
It's water, baby.
It's water, baby. H2O.
It's Friday though. I might go out after the stream.
That's what's up, man. Yep, you got to work hard, play hard, right? So he put that work in with this presentation, though. He put that work in, man. Love looking at this.
Yeah, guys. And this guide is very much. It's really for the public. You'll see at the end, guys. I really want you guys to put some input on this, because whenever I make the rest of these dungeon guides, and this is a rough draft, basically. I wasn't sure how I'm going to format these things. I did the Dead Mines guide before this, but I'm really going to need your help. And that's what's so cool about these guides and kind of the website that we're doing. I don't want to present a guide to you. I don't want to tell you this is the best way to do things. I want to present a guide that brings value to the community, that allows the community to create new leveling routes, create new ways to pick up gear here or there.
So you're not telling people how to play. You're giving them the tools so they can figure out how they want to play. I like that.
Yeah. And it's funny because I can't really tell you how to play, because my knowledge maybe on a lot of aspects of the game are minimal, because I didn't play private servers and it's been so long since vanilla, and I was 9 years old whenever I played it. It's funny, I kind of have to present my information that way, but I almost think it brings more value. I really do. But anyways, that's how some of my guides are going to be. But yeah, my bad. This is what I wanted to say, was my dungeon guides are going to be lists of the quests, and they're going to be lists of all the bosses and maybe 1 or 2 things, but I'm not going to put out abstract notes like you might like, just abstract things that I really want you guys to point out, some inside tips that you guys have playing private servers, and all this knowledge that I may not necessarily have. I want you to like comment on it. That's why I have it in a Google slide form. You can comment on it, and I'll end up making a slide with all your names and all your comments at the end, like whenever I update all the health and armor and damage and attack speed. I think it'd be really cool to have the community involved in the guide in that way.
I think so too, man.
That's just another presentation.
So we got online username, who's my homie. He's been with the channel forever, man. He said, yo, I like this guy's enthusiasm, Kargoz. I do too, man. You have very enthusiastic personality. I like it, dude. The passion is real there, man. Where'd you grow up, Grace? As a quick interjection, where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so I'm in South Texas, dude. Born and raised.
Born and raised, Texas boy.
So I don't know if I put an accent out, you'll hear me say y'all a lot, and it just rolls off. I know a lot of people up north in the States, they say you guys. Kargoz, what do you say? Do you say y'all or you guys?
I'll say y'all. I mean, I grew up in New York. They don't really say y'all there, but I guess ever since joining the military, there's a lot of people from different states in the military, and people say y'all kind of a little bit more. It kind of rubbed off on me a little bit, so I've been saying y'all a bit. But
yeah.
That's
dude,
cool,
and I'll say this too. People are so much friendlier in Texas, and that's the thing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, because I know we have a lot of European people, but like culture in the United States, at least there's this north and south stigma. Like people up north are very cold. They're very put off. Like nobody says hi. One of my professors, he had this story here in Texas because I'm at college. He was talking about he moved down to Texas and he kept driving by people on the highway and he saw people waving their finger and just pointing their finger up. And he didn't know why they were pointing their finger up. He realized they were waving at him. And he was like, he couldn't figure it out for the longest time. And then he started waving at people. And then he was like, why am I waving at people? But that's just like how friendly people are here down in the South. So yeah. I mean, I grew up here in Texas.
I mean, but I guess it's South, right? I mean, but you're like central, kind of. I don't know. I guess
yeah.
So Texans identify themselves as Southerners, kind of, or
you're right, but we're not really.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting, but yeah, you definitely have a lot of charisma and stuff, man. I think you're. No, it's definitely good stuff. All right, let's go to the next one. So we had Cobron. Let's see what he drops real quick, though. Robe of the Moccasin. That's kind of meh. Cobron's Grasp. 8 strength, kind of a lot of strength. 20%. Yeah, nothing too crazy. All right.
Yeah, so this is another thing to think about, guys. And this is just a thought that comes to my mind whenever I lay this. You can go, okay, Lord Cobron drops Leggings of the Fang, best in slot for 19 twinks, right? And if you're farming for your 19 rogue set, you'll probably have a level 60 in here, clear the entire dungeon. But if you're just going for the legs, he just has to clear out the smallest part of the dungeon on the west side, and you can run through this dungeon X amount of times in X amount of time, right? So that's just something to think about, something you can visualize with this one slide right here. So
I love these little maps here at the top right too, because you really are able to visualize the dungeon a lot better when you see the layout like this, which is really quite nice. I'm sure you've learned a lot making these too, right? Like you probably know the dungeons way better now at this point.
Dude, I spent so much time in Wailing Caverns back in the day, and I thought I knew it, but once I did this dungeon, guys, I know where every serpent bloom is mapped out on this dungeon. So I'm not... so I'm going to be rounding corners and picking up serpent bloom before all you guys in my group come classic, which is awesome. But yeah, the shout out to Taladrill putting these maps together, dude. He really outdid himself. We don't have these dungeon maps. I don't know what they're going to do about dungeon maps, Kargoz, in Vanilla WoW. And Taladrill was talking about this. They don't have updated HD maps for the original dungeons. What are they going to do about dungeons?
Yeah, I don't want them in game though. I mean, the community's free to make these outside, which has already been done. But I wouldn't want to press M inside Vanilla and see a dungeon map. That would just
honestly, it would not feel like Vanilla. You're right, because I remember that just being. Is that more of a nostalgic thing? Because I know a lot of people would be up in arms.
It might be. It'd be the type of thing where it seems like objectively better to have the dungeon map in.
Exactly.
At the same time, it was a part.
It's not Vanilla.
It was the perfectly imperfect masterpiece that is Vanilla WoW. Like, not having that made the dungeons feel bigger. So if I were to press M and see the dungeon laid out like this, I press M. I'm in Wailing Caverns, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's like a little bit of a.
That's true.
Circular thing in here. When you go through these dungeons the first time, chat, echo this if you feel the same way. When you're going through these dungeons in Vanilla, you could be a seasoned player. Oftentimes, you feel overwhelmed. You're like, yo, this place is a labyrinth, dude. What is going on here? I don't even know where I am. Like, this place is so crazy. Like, all these little weird corners and stuff. Wailing Caverns, without looking at this map, felt like there was all these weird, intricate passageways and stuff, like shortcuts and strange stuff like that. I don't know.
No,
So-
I agree. I agree. I think you're right. There is an aspect to dungeon without having that map in. It really brings value to the game. I think you're right.
I get lost
Even
in
Wailing
Wailing
Caverns,
Caverns
I
all the
felt
time, dude. Yeah. Getting lost all the time. Oh, marauding, dude. Purple side, orange side. Yeah, some of these dungeons, man, I think they're almost designed in a way to intentionally get you lost.
Yeah.
And that kind of adds to the immersion, you know? But then when you see this picture of it, you're like, oh, it's not too bad. I don't know.
Yeah. Once I saw the map, I was like, oh, I can through here. Like you said beforehand, dude. Imagine Sunken Temple with a map, dude. You get the. I'm looking at the map for Sunken Temple. It doesn't even help.
It doesn't even help? It's that bad?
Dude, it's that bad. It's horrible. I can't tell where I'm at, even with the map.
I can't do a straw poll on this because there's too many dungeons and I can't list them all off the top of the head. But I want to get some votes in the chat for what you guys think the biggest feeling dungeon is. Like, which dungeon do you step foot into and it feels like an absolute massive place that is so hard to wrap your head around? What's your vote, Grace?
Well, my love is I absolutely love Sunken Temple. For some reason, I don't know if it's because what feels big is Nomergan. Nomergan feels huge.
It's a good. It's up there, yeah, man.
But yeah, for Sunken Temple, I think maybe one of the obvious choices. But Nomergan, as in terms of feeling huge, you go through all these turns. You've got a freaking Alliance little sitting area halfway through the dungeon. You're like, what? How did this even get in here? Just many different aspects to the dungeon. Nomergan feels extremely large.
It does. Yeah, it does. There's a certain like design value add from designing it in that really like twisting labyrinthy kind of way, as opposed to like, you know, like open concept. You know, when you watch those home renovation shows where they like knock down the walls and everything's like an open concept, like
Right.
designing it in that way where it's like close quarters, like little, you know, twists and turns definitely makes it feel bigger, at least to me. I think I'm gonna. Yeah.
No,
Sorry,
people are saying Blackrock Depths, and it's funny. I know Blackrock Depths is huge, but I can navigate through Blackrock Depths easily. I totally can.
I think they're right though. For me, at least, I think it's got to be bigger. Whoa, dude! What happened, dude? What happened, dude? Something happened. $100 donation. Who did it? Who did that?
The retired
that?
old fart, dude.
Oh my god, dude!
up.
Retired old fart with the 100, dude. My man, dude. You are too kind. Thank you very much, man. Holy moly, you guys, man. Holy crap, you guys are spoiling me today, man. Thank you very much, dude. Retired old fart, dude. I can't thank you enough. Man, dude. See, dude, your PowerPoint. Your PowerPoint's powerful, Grays, man.
You already know. Heck yeah, dude.
Adding some value here, man. I forgot what we're even doing, man. $100 donation, dude. Was this?
Well, we were talking about the biggest dungeon, the biggest feeling dungeon, at least.
Biggest feeling dungeon. Yeah, I think it's BRD for me too. I remember being a noob back in the day, going through BRD, feeling like frustrated, going like, dude, this place is massive. It felt like a Dark Iron Empire. Honestly, like it felt like a World of Warcraft in and of itself. It felt so big. I couldn't wrap my head around it at all, but yeah.
Dude, can you talk to them for a second? My bad, I gotta pee, and I can't.
Go for it. Have a good one. Have a good one, dude. So guys, about those dungeons, man. So what I said before, I want to keep re-emphasizing this. If there's one point I want to make throughout this stream, and I'm just going to say it over and over and over again, is that if you're duo leveling, it still might be viable enough to do it if you're solo leveling. But if you're duo leveling and you need Crescent Staff, the reason why Crescent Staff sticks out to me a lot is that it is a quest reward. Check this out. Leaders of the Fang. So you need to kill Cobron, Anacondra, Pythus, and Serpentis. If you're duo leveling, and let's say you're going Warrior Shaman, let's say you're going Druid, you know, Druid something, if you're going that Omen of Clarity build, if you are going a class that can utilize this Crescent Staff and your duo partner is as well, it seems like it's kind of counterculture. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I think it's probably worth it to do Wailing Caverns, especially if you can be that healer and tank. What do you guys think about that, though? I know you can't see it. Sorry, the stream is scuffed in that sense. I need to work on a way for you guys to see that. Let me pull it up. You know what I can do? I can pull it up on the browser screen so you guys can see how good. Crescent Staff is. Okay. Classic DB, here we go. Alright, check this out, guys. So Crescent Staff really is quite a powerful weapon. And as you guys know, weapons more so than gear move the needle a lot more when it comes to leveling efficiency. Let me see if you can see this on the stream before I proceed so I don't look insane. Yeah, it looks like you can see it. So check out Crescent Staff, guys. Like, this is such a strong weapon. 2.9 weapon speed. It's got good damage range, 20.3 DPS, plus 7 intellect, plus 7 spirit, plus 7 stamina. The other thing is that there's actually another staff in Wailing Caverns. I think I lost your image. My bad. I'll put it back. Okay. Yeah, it's back. Epics for Days Portrait is gone. Sorry. There's another staff which we'll get into called Living Root. That's even better than Crescent Staff, but it's only a 40% drop. But Crescent Staff is guaranteed, and if you roll into Wailing Caverns with your duo partner and you're going to tank and he's going to heal, you're not really losing that much time traveling to some far-off location. You're in the area already. You're knocking it out. You're killing a couple bosses, and you both come out of Wailing Caverns with Crescent Staffs?
Yeah.
Guys, is this meta breaking? This seems... No, you say it's fast, Shaman, but compared to what, man? Relative to what? Are you seeing 3.4 speed weapons, you know, at this level range? It's 17? I don't know, man. So, like, when I was looking at the... When I was looking at my warrior guide and I was looking at the weapon progression I've listed out here, you pretty much have that that traveling vendor weapon, or you have this Samaflange screwdriver. So this is obtained at level 15 through the Samaflange manual quest in the Barrens. It's kind of like in the Northern Barrens by that little like area. 12.6 DPS and 2.5 speed. Can you imagine using Samaflange screwdriver, taking a little bit out of your time, planning your weapon, planning your dual leveling progression in a way so you can both pop into Wailing Caverns, do a run, carry it because you're both tank healer DPS because you're a tank and healer, right? And with a small investment of time, you come out you walk out with 2 Crescent Staffs. Tell me that's not really good. Someone explain to me what I'm missing here. I feel like I must be missing something. Graysfordays is changing my opinion on the viability of dungeons, man.
Well,
Like-
and that's the thing. By the end of the Barrens, anyways, and I'm not sure what the leveling route is, the most optimal leveling route, but by the end of the Barrens, you kind of run out of quests. Wailing Caverns is a huge experience boost, and it may not be the most efficient, but it's pretty freaking close. And the fact that you get if you're in a duo group, like you said, Kargoz, the fact that y'all both get Crescent Staffs at the end of the run, it has to be worth the time investment that
right?
you lose, right?
And okay, so if you guys remember to my dual leveling workshop, sorry to cut you off here, man. I'm just so excited by this, man. Like, you really got me thinking here. So imagine you're going Warrior Shaman, which I believe to be is a god tier dual leveling combination. They have a little bit of a slowish start compared to some of the other ones, but once you get that Wind Fury totem, it feels like you're playing with Game Master powers. Now, let's say you're a Warrior Shaman. The Shaman is leveling with staves because he doesn't have access to that enhancement talent for axes and maces, and you pretty much want to be going elemental anyway. The Warrior is using staves because it's just the best weapon. You're not really pigeonholed into going axes yet because you don't even have that crit talent, right? So any weapon is on the table. Just imagine Warrior Shaman in the Barrens. You plan out your leveling path. You pop into Wailing Caverns. How long would it take to kill 4 bosses, Grays? What do you think? An hour? Like...
Well, picking up all the quests, yeah, it'd take, and if you do it at level 17, 18, it would take you a little bit over an hour. I'd say in preparation, hour and a half. And turning in the quests, you're going to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours easily. But no more than that. Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Right. And if you were a solo warrior or if you were a solo shaman, these are the minor accelerations I'm talking about dual leveling. If you were solo, it'd be too much of a risk. You could just get with some scrub lord group and it would just be terrible and it would be trash. But if you're with your partner in crime and you guys have trained for this and you're going through this and you know that he's a competent healer or a competent tank and you're going to blow through this shit, I think it's totally worth it, man. And you have a shot, 40% shot at this. Let me pull it up. Living Root. This is something I didn't even know about today. I didn't compare this relative to Crescent Staff. This is even better than Crescent Staff. This is a 40% drop off Verdun the Everliving. Living Root. This is meta busting, guys. I don't know. I mean, I love when the hardcore incentive aligns with the social incentive. It really makes me happy. And Living Root, higher top end, right? Higher top end than Crescent Staff, same speed, plus 12 spirit. That is nutter butters on a warrior, dude. Spirit warriors get so much benefit from spirit, especially early on. Sorry, man. I don't know. I'm very excited by this. If I was going Warrior Shaman, I would absolutely bake in a Wailing Caverns run while leveling on some Gravestone Scepter shit. Let me go back to the PowerPoint though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a big benefit. Yeah, so let's go ahead and just keep going through the bosses and see if they have any other unique abilities that we're looking at. Who are we on? Lord Pythos?
We did Cobron, right? So then,
Yeah.
yeah, Pythos. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, and like on the last one, Lord Cobran doesn't have a heal. That's another thing to think about. In a 2-man setting, you're not gonna have to worry about stunning him for a heal or interrupting his heal. But Lord Pythus, he's got another heal, Thunderclap ability. Again, in a 5-man group composition, these abilities don't matter. They really don't. You just storm through it. But in a 2-man group, you got to think about these things. A Thunderclap or Lord Serpentis on the next one. Okay, now this is kind of neat too. Lord Serpentis is the last Druid of the Fang before Verdun the Everliving, and he has a unique healing touch compared to the other mobs. This one's a longer cast, and it costs nearly all of his mana, but it heals him for nearly 800 health. So like if you're in a 2-man group composition, and you're level 18, and like you're seriously getting low on health, and you're about to kill Lord Serpentis, and he heals all the way up, and you might lose the fight because you didn't interrupt his big fat heal. That's just something to think about.
Absolutely.
He's got a unique heal compared to everybody else. And it's so neat. You can think and you can play the game completely differently seeing all these abilities laid out. Because normally you just go through here and you don't know what they're casting. He has a different sleep ability than the other guys. Or no, Lord Cobran has a different sleep ability than the other two.
So imagine you're that duo leveling, right? And you have your guide here as well, guys. You have to think about this. Graysfordays guide here is an acceleration as well. You go into the dungeon run knowing that Lord Pythus is going to heal, and you're going to interrupt that with an Earth Shock. And I don't know. I just think it makes it even more efficient. Like, sorry, keep going.
Yeah. No, it really excites me to see this. And yeah, like go real quick. Go look at Lord Cobran, Carlos. Lord Cobran,
dude. Where's he at?
His Druid Slumber. His sleep ability is a 2.5 second cast. Now all the other 3 bosses, they have a 1.5 second cast sleep, which is just it's stupid, but it's just cool to look at the game design and look at the way that you're going to encounter these bosses differently. They're not all the same, and they all have unique abilities. It's just really neat to me. And that's the other thing. I want to see some crazy highlight reels. I want to see people putting together crazy 2-man group compositions. Utilizing these guides and really playing and countering the boss's abilities. Like, that would be so neat. Imagine having a highlight reel, guys. Imagine having a community that's putting together 2-man groups, and they're showcasing it. Like they send it in as a video submission, and I do like a weekly highlight thing, and we showcase, oh, look at these guys, they got through with a priest druid combo, or a priest warlock, or a hunter warlock.
I can see it. You could do a weekly show highlighting some of the best people. You know, you can go over their VOD review and see how efficient it is, and see like, damn, dude, look at this sick pull they did. You know what I mean? Like, look how they reset at this point, or I don't know.
Yeah. No, and it's giving the community the tools, and you're okay now. All of a sudden, guys, you begin to make content, and that's kind of, now I'm gonna go off on this a little bit, but with the website that we're putting together, ClassicWow.live, you know, it's kind of content creators making content for the game, right? And a lot of people initially have thought that the website is just for the benefit of the content creators, and it looks like that. That's the nature of it. It's just starting up. You have to have a group of people making content. But guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kargoz, but really the drive behind the website is for this to be something of value to the community. I want to make my guides in a way that you can create content, that you can create.
I need to take a lesson out of your book, man, because.
But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, my guides are a little bit preachy. I see what you mean. Like, yours are just like, you're giving the people the tools, and that's part of the amazingness of Vanilla WoW, being able to explore a little bit. You're not taking away that exploration for them. You're giving them the tools, and they get to go out there and have fun. You know.
Well, and it's funny. Like I said, I kind of stumbled upon it because. But you, as well as everybody else, knows the game is so deep, you cannot have someone tell you this is how you should do this in a guide.
The more and more
you can't.
Yeah, the more and more I make content, the more and more I realize, how little you can speak with sort of absolutes with this game, right, Grays? Like, you can't speak super decisively. This class is this good in PvP. This class is this good in PvE. This class is the strongest leveler. Like, it's so much the game is so sandboxy that, like, it gives you the tools to go above and beyond. Like I said a million times, you can go beyond the limitations of your class. And because you can go beyond the limitations of your class, it's so hard to say that this class is this good at this, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you're exactly right. So I just imagine, guys, all of a sudden you can make content easily by participating in these 2 to 3 man group content compositions and just putting it out there. It's sweet, dude. Like, we're gonna have we're gonna have a leaderboard. You could, and everybody does dungeons. Anyways, I'll stop talking about it. I'll
No,
get
I
off
love
of
it. I'm excited, bro. Sign me up, dude. If there's a sign up,
Yeah.
sign me up, man.
For sure, for sure. Okay, so now we're looking at Scum.
So we did
Scum, of course-
Anacondra. We did Cobron. What about Pythus? We did oh yeah, healing touch.
Yeah, we went through all these guys. We're on
Stinging
Scum
Viper.
now.
How good is Stinging Viper? Let me look at this real quick. 2.8 one-hander? Man, that's slow. That's interesting.
So check this out. I want to make a note on this. This was really unique, guys. Stinging Viper compared to Cruel Barb. There's a lot of twink items in Wailing Caverns. Nobody ever puts Stinging Viper up there because it's a mace compared to a sword in the 19 Twink Rogue, whenever you're looking at it, but they have the exact same DPS per second. But Cruel Barb has plus 12 attack power, right? And Stinging Viper has poisons the target for 7 nature damage, so an additional 35 nature damage. So the Cruel Barb wins every time, right? In a 19 Twink Rogue composition. But whenever you're going rogue against rogue, whenever you're doing a one-on-one duel or one-on-one encounter in PvP, a lot of people have said Stinging Viper would be advantageous against another 19 Twink Rogue because of the poison effect. Because this means that the rogue can't escape, they can't re-stealth, they can't bandage because they have this poison effect. And so that's one instance where you could have Stinging Viper in your back pocket if you're normally using Cruel Barb and you're in a one-on-one encounter. You just, I mean, that's super micromanaging.
No, I love it, dude. I love it. It makes sense to me. Like, that's the cool. I love it when in vanilla certain items or specs or whatever have some really weird niche, and I love how everything kind of has a place in some weird way. You know, you can't just say something is 100% better than other stuff. Oftentimes there's some weird particular niche where something really excels.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, people don't really talk about that, but it's got the same DPS as Cruel Barb besides the plus 12 attack power and the chance on it. But people said that the Stinging Viper, and because I had Stinging Viper back in the day, I remember that thing dropping. I don't remember how much it procced, but whenever I was putting this list together, I look at comments, and a lot of people said that the procs, and I think this is true for a lot of abilities. I've heard this talk in forum posts, on comments. A lot of the procking on items is a lot lower than people anticipate, than numbers that are portrayed in private servers. So things like Stinging Viper, they said, like, dude, you'll kill 2, 3, 4, 5 mobs and see it proc one time. So that's something to consider as well, I guess. But
yeah, certainly.
I guess we won't know until Classic comes out.
All right. So Lord Pythus down, right? Let's see.
Yeah. Lord Serpentis. So Lord Serpentis has Venom Strike, the best in slot ranged weapon for 19 Twink Rogue.
For Hunter, man. For Hunter. It's got to be best for Hunter too, right?
So, but yeah, in Classic, and just because my mind is a little muddled on it, rogues can, everybody can equip a ranged ability, right? That's true, isn't it?
Everyone can, I mean, in the sense, like, so casters can get wands.
But like, if I'm a rogue and I'm dual wielding, I can also have Venom Strike equipped, right?
Oh yeah, you can have a bow.
You can't do that in retail. I mean, isn't that correct?
No, you could train bows. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I thought that was exclusive to Classic. Anyways.
Oh, I'm not speaking on retail. I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah,
I assume you still can, but you know, I'm just saying, and you're on point. Yeah, you can train bows.
Yeah. All right, now let's look at Scum. Ooh, you can talk on Scum a little bit.
So Serpentis does have healing touch. So let's look at these bosses though. So they all have healing touch. Like, so Anacondra has healing touch. Cobran doesn't. Lord Pythus does. Lord Serpentis does. So 3 out of 4. So you go into Wailing Caverns knowing that you're gonna have to interrupt some heals, boys.
And so Lord Cobran is the only one with a poison, right? And so you're gonna want to cure dispel or whatever else.
Right. 2 seconds, so it's 20 damage every 2 seconds, 20 seconds. It's not that much damage, though.
I wish that we had, like I said, I wish we had the amount of health. I wish we had the numbers here that we could really Theorycraft right now. But, dude, whenever we get the attack speed, the health, the armor, the damage, it's really going to change the way that you encounter these fights, because then you can really start to micromanage exactly how many hits, how many swings, if you're going to kite, if you're going to use Sunder armor or not, certain things like that. So I can't wait till we get official numbers for that. It's really going to increase the value of this guide.
Absolutely. So we left off at, we did Serpentis? Yeah, we did Serpentis. Okay, so we're on Scum. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Scum. All right. So right off the bat, I mean, I can start. Tail Spike. Seems like a good dagger. So I've been going off about this duo leveling with rogues, right? Going full ambush spec. The one caveat is you have to factor in dagger progression. So you have to look and be proactive about where the daggers are at. So I could pull up the rogue guide, but I'll just talk about it. I mean, this 11 point, oh man. Yeah, this 11.1 DPS dagger is quite good. And it's got a 50% chance to drop. So, you know, would it be worth it if you were just a rogue trying to do Wailing Caverns by yourself, trying to find a group and go in there to try and get a 50% shot at Tailspike? Probably not. But let's say you're duo leveling with someone who can make use of the staff for whatever reason, or is guaranteed some sort of substantial upgrade. It makes it that much more attractive. So I think Tailspike, pretty high drop chance, and I'm always looking for weapons, right? So weapons move the needle more than pieces of gear that give you some marginal amount of, primary or secondary stat. Anything else on Scum?
No, other than the fact that I have more nostalgia whenever looking at Scum. He's surrounded in that kind of arena kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like the little he's fenced off kind of, almost like he's a pet or something.
He's fenced off, and there's those 2 Druid of the Fangs, and I pointed it out in one of my theory crafting videos. Whenever I'm going to put a guide video together, but whenever I think about entering into his thing, I see both of those Druid of the Fangs starting their lightning bolts at the same time. That's just something unique. But yeah, Scum was always kind of like this novelty boss in Wailing Caverns. You got this freaking Kodo that's underground, gray Kodo. I don't know, it's unique.
He's a Thunder Lizard. Thunder Lizard, right?
Yeah, Thunder Lizard. You're right.
Thunder Lizard. But honestly, the cool thing is, like, look, you kill this and you're a rogue, you're gonna come away with something cool. You got glowing lizard scale cloak or Tailspike. Right. The Agi's nice. It's not even good just for rogue, but out of the loot tables, this seems like one of the more attractive bosses to do. So just another thing that just to keep in mind, man. Like, do we do Scum? Yes, do Scum, man. Do Scum. Kill Scum.
Right. Well, yeah. So that's the other thing. Like you said, in a 2-minute, whenever you're speed leveling, you might just go for the 4 Druid of the Fang bosses so that you can complete the quest and get Crescent Staff, right? Or if you're going for more of a casual completionist kind of thing, you want to make sure you tap in on him. So yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Next
so
up,
Verdun the
Everliving. Verdun, dude. Oh, dude, my man with the living rod. Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so Verdun the Everliving, he's got a huge hitbox. I don't know if you guys remember, but you don't have to stand. You can be in the same room as him and be able to hit him. That's just something to point out. But he's got this Grasping Vines ability, which is unique, I guess. You might want to stay 10 yards away to avoid that. I don't know. There was some things. Whenever I was pulling these abilities together, there's some data, there's some information inside the abilities that you can't see from here, but I didn't edit in. But like the Grasping Vines has a 10-yard striking ability. So I mean, striking range. So that's just something to consider. There's even all the information that I'm putting on these guides. There's so much more than you can see.
I mean, so one thing that it seems obvious, right? But doing this stuff in a 2-man or 3-man capacity, you're buffing the bosses essentially. Like, you're making the content harder, right? So that's kind of a cool thing, because people like talk about, maybe classic is kind of easy to some people. So that's kind of cool right there. But it could be the type of thing, Grays, that in a 2-man or 3-man setting, maybe you have to dodge the Grasping Vines in order to clear them. Maybe that's too punishing in a 2-man setting.
Sure.
So the mechanics actually kind of change. In a 5-man setting, you can just ignore it potentially.
Right, and again, that's what is so appealing about creating this meta, and that's why I want everyone to be a part of it, because it creates a whole new play mode. Now all of a sudden you have to pull Verdun the Everliving to the back of the room, just so that his Grasping Vines doesn't hit your other party member, right? Just little mechanics like that. Yeah, it changes the entire dynamic. You're right. I like what you said. It buffs the bosses.
It buffs and the living root, guys. Like, so here's Crescent Staff. I'll go to the. Let me see if you can see that. I don't think they can. Let me go. I mean, just take my word for it, guys. Crescent Staff is really, really solid, right? But Living Root is even better. So Crescent Staff is 20.3 DPS. Living Root is 21.2. Living Root has higher top end, same speed, but it has more Spirit. And Spirit is actually really good early. And let's say you're a warrior or something, you may not need that int. Maybe a shaman could consider Crescent Staff over it. But the thing about Intellect and Stamina is they don't necessarily boost your resource regeneration as much as something like Spirit. Spirit is going to boost the rate at which you regenerate resources, which moves the needle more, generally speaking.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't mean to cut you off. Brendan brought up, let's be real, if you're really going for a 2 or 3-man clear of Wailing Caverns, you're skipping Verdun. I don't remember how hard he was, just because I always did it in a 5-man group, but that may be true, but that wouldn't. I don't know. It's something to consider.
Yeah. So another thing.
That's the other thing.
I just want to set the record straight on one thing, though. So I'm talking about dual leveling. So I see how we might be able to we might be sending out conflicting messages here. So one thing Grays is saying is that he wants to create a 2- and 3-man leveling meta, right? Or dungeon meta for 2- and 3-man clears, which I think is awesome. It's kind of its own separate thing. My perspective looking at this, I want to go hard come classic. I want to level. I want to get ahead of the pack. I want to do the most optimal thing, and that I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. So what I'm telling you guys is I think if you are to duo level, which is in my mind at this point the optimal line of play for success, you know, in classic WoW, the most efficient thing you can do is to duo level. That this is still a worthy consideration. This is not a meme. Coming in here, if you can extract double value from getting Crescent Staff, a guaranteed reward, that is worth doing. I'm not saying go in here and two-man it, you know, if you're going for that, you know, really hyper-efficient line of play. So sorry to be sending mixed messages, you know what I mean? I just want to clear that up a little bit. Yeah.
No, and it's funny because we were discussing that, and yeah, I had that. I had that as well. Okay, so, and people are saying you can't two-man Verdant the Everliving. That's the thing. Depending on the rules that I set for this, because there's obviously going to be guidelines. Like for you to have an official run, for you to have a run that's counted, you can't start the dungeon over level 21, right? Because at level 22 you unlock some crazy abilities and just the extra talent that you get at 22. It really would invalidate, you know, 1920s going through. So there's going to be a rule sheet for, you know, legit runs whenever you go through each dungeon. But that's the thing. If you can't two-man Verdant the Everliving, say you do figure it out, you figure out like you create a two-man group just to kill Verdant the Everliving. I mean, your whole talent tree and everything is focused around downing Verdant the Everliving at level 19, right? And you and your buddy, you guys do it, and you have video proof of it, and it goes on the website or it goes on the highlight reel. You two are the only people. You get the world first Verdant the Everliving kill, two-man kill.
I love it.
Just stupid things like
I
that.
love
It creates content. It's awesome.
People love to sink their teeth into a meta where they can theorycraft and min-max and make spreadsheets on, right? You see so many, this plethora of resources at end game through the different raid tiers and people min-maxing and calculating, you know, damage across so many different variables and stuff like that. This is just another cool meta that's more accessible that you can sink your teeth into. I think it's a great idea, man. And so, like, I guess that you would take like the submission or something would be like a VOD or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it would initially it's going to be video proof. I don't know how we're going to track it. Eventually, if it got big enough and there was enough traction behind it, I'd want to have a website like they do with the Mythic dungeon clears, right? They can track like the time spent and how many bosses you cleared, right? If it got to that point, I could see it being that big, or having an add-on that tracked, you know, the time spent and the amount of bosses cleared, the amount of deaths, all these things. We'll see where it goes, but I could really see a whole new play mode being created with this.
Really the bottom line is you're boosting the relevancy of classic WoW dungeons. How is that a bad thing? Can anybody say that's a bad thing? You're making the amazing classic WoW dungeons that we love so much more relevant and more of a thing, more of a community behind it, more of a meta, just another way to enjoy the game. I don't see any downside to it, man. It seems really cool.
Right. So you play through all the content, right? You level all your, do all these things, and you've never done 2 or 3 man group compositions. Guys, this is months worth of content that you could sink your teeth into. Like you said, there's 9 classes, 3 specs, 2-man group compositions, 3-man group compositions. Oh my gosh, it takes forever in vanilla, right, to level some of these characters up. You could even set it up to where you hit level 18 in Wailing Caverns and you get a level 60 to run through Wailing Caverns, kill all the trash, and just get the bosses loot for you, right? And you come in and you get the boss's loot, so you get a couple runs with the most buffed character possible, right? So there's a million different caveats, million different variables that go into this. And so, like I said, I'm going to try and set a rule sheet, guidelines to make this competitive, but nonetheless, it'll just be a big contribution.
I'm gonna be doing stuff like this all the time. Come classic, man. I love it. I think it's a great idea. Real quick, we have another Twitch Prime sub. Diabetic Gamer James, welcome, dude. Welcome to the fam. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the community. You are amongst friends, man. Thank you very much for joining. And Def Camp Meldron in the house. What's up, guys?
Hey,
what's up, brothers?
I didn't even see him. What up, boys?
Yeah, man. My future guildies right there, dude. All right. Okay, so living root, man. So you're gonna go through this. Is this a massive deviation from the most efficient path to kill Verdant if you're just trying to go for the Crescent Staff? Do you happen to know?
Yeah, it's probably not worth your time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm thinking like, okay, you and your shaman buddy, you're a warrior, right? You and your shaman buddy are here. You're here to get shit done. You have your group, you just recruited a few people in the Barrens, you're level 17, 18, something like that. You hop into Wailing Caverns, you're trying to get that Crescent Staff. That's the aim of the game.
Oh, no.
But you have a 40% shot of getting Living Root, which is even better if it does drop off Verdant. You know, how you think it would be worth to deviate a little bit and kill him?
Here's the thing, Kargoz. You're not deviating at all. You kill all the bosses to where your last Druid of the Fang boss is right next to Verdant the Everliving.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's no extra time spent. It's literally in the same room.
So you have 2 guaranteed amazing weapon upgrades, but you have a 40% shot at an even better one, which is great.
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So now if you're doing it in terms of speed leveling, let's go to the last slide, the last boss. Mutinous the Devourer. This guy is level 22, guys. This Murloc is huge. And if you guys have ever run through Wailing Caverns, you've seen how hard this boss fight is. And not only just hard, it adds an additional 30 minutes to your run. I would say minimum 30 minutes.
This is the guy you summon at the end?
Yeah. You have to escort the guy at the beginning, and he walks through and summons Neralex. And there's 2 phases of mobs that come in. You got 3 raptors, and then after those 3 raptors are killed, you get 7 oozes that just swarm Neralex. So in a 2 or 3 man group composition, honestly, I think it's going to be impossible. There's no way. 5-man groups have trouble. 5-man level 18 groups have trouble clearing Mutinous the Devourer.
He's level 22, yeah. I mean, you need to have like a shaman in there with the quick interrupts. I think you can interrupt that Neralex nightmare thing. That thing seems like GG though. He sleeps someone for 15 seconds. You got to interrupt that if that's something that can be interrupted. The shaman's with Earthshock. You know what I mean? Like 6-second interrupt.
Well, the biggest thing is getting this guy summoned. Kargoz, that 7 mob wave before Mutinous comes out. That's the hard.
Okay. I remember now.
Yeah, the boss isn't even the hard part on this thing. It's those 7 oozes that come out.
Oh, okay, yeah. I kind of vaguely remember wiping on that actually. Yeah, it's almost like a little gauntlet event in that little back room area.
Yeah,
there's like that
absolutely.
little area where there's like a little altar down there. Yeah, okay.
And what's crazy is this guy's loot, and it's so weird, dude. And this is what's so crazy about dungeons in vanilla. You literally start the dungeon killing level 18 mobs. Oh, and I can't wait till we get to the mobs. I'll explain this a little bit more.
Okay.
But you start out attacking level 18 mobs, and by the end of it, Mutinous the Devourer, you're killing a level 22 elite, and you get 7 level 21 elite oozes attacking you.
7 level 21 elite oozes. Wow.
Yes, dude, it's nuts. And so the level range in Wailing Caverns, it's so big, it's so massive. The loot that you get on this last boss is level 21, 23. That's what it requires.
So you're not even able to equip this, most likely.
No. You're not even able to equip the rewards from this guy. That's how big of a power creep this last boss is.
And there's no weapons off him or anything like that too, so that also doesn't devalue him.
Yeah, he's really not worth it to do in terms of speed leveling. His rewards aren't amazing, but he does give you the additional. So if you're in a 5-man group, I think you have to do him because of the extra loot and the additional quest you get at the end.
Okay. All right, so we're on to rare spawn bosses. So how does this work?
Yeah, so the rare spawn bosses, we've got 3 rare spawn bosses. Of course, we have Fairy Dragon inside, and then you have 2 rare spawns outside of Wailing Cavern. So I went ahead and put them in the slide because their loot is relevant. Of course,
dude, I remember getting Bowen's Fang during the demo, man. Shout out to Connor if he's in the chat. Getting this during the demo, getting the blue BOE. So cool, man.
Dude, I did too. Yeah. I picked that up too. So get this, Kargoz. And this is what's crazy. I don't know why I didn't realize this, but there was such a big uprise during the demo. Everyone was like, Bowen? I don't remember Bowen being in vanilla, and I don't either, dude. And I guess because his spawn time is just insane, or he just got camped so often. I don't remember Bowen being in the game. I remember Trigor the Lasher, but it was weird. I don't remember Bowen.
One of the rarest hunter pets, man. Trigor the Lasher.
You can't. I thought you couldn't.
Red-skinned Hydra. You can at some point. You can definitely tame him at some point. He's one of the rarest. Like, so, you know, I can't speak of exactly on vanilla, but he is the rarest. One of the rarest pets in the entire game. And when I made the 10 rarest hunter pet video, he was definitely on there. So he has a unique red skin.
I think Kargoz and
you can't do it in vanilla. He's a Hydra. Yeah, he's a Hydra.
I thought at 1.9 or something you couldn't do that anymore. Maybe not.
Well, he's a Hydra, so you can't tame Hydras in vanilla. That's the thing. But at some point you can tame him, and then I think they ended up removing him or something from the game, and that's why he's one of the rarest hunter pets.
Gotcha.
So Fairy Dragon drops the Fire Belcher, pretty strong wand. The Greater Magic Wand at this level is like 17 DPS, so not like a massive upgrade if you have it. It's the type of thing that, you know, if it's around, it's probably not out of the way. You just kill it, and it has a 50% shot of dropping this.
Yeah. Like you were pointing out, Fairy Dragon seems to never be in there. If you come across him, hopefully he drops that wand. I think compared to Cookie Stirring Wand and Dead Mines has like a 22 damage per second. So Fire Belcher being 20.3, and then compared, like you said, to the Greater Magic Wand being 17.5, it's really not that big of an upgrade. So you're not gonna miss out on anything if Fairy Dragon's not there. But yeah, let's move on to Boan.
Okay, yeah,
Boan has he's got the same abilities as every other mob inside of Wailing Caverns, but of course his Boan's Fang is insane. Don't take these statistics like I said, these statistics are placeholders. This entire guide, it just has placeholders. I'm going to be updating this guide whenever we get official numbers in vanilla. But Boan's Fang might not be 40%.
I wonder if Blizzard was cognizant of this fact. What do you guys think, chat? So he's outside of the instance, but so his weapon is substantially worse than Crescent Staff. I don't know, maybe it's a weapon type thing, but it's got a faster speed, which is generally not good, 2.5. It's got a much lower top end. It's only 17.6 DPS as opposed to, take a look at Crescent Staff. It's 20 something, right? It's 20.3, higher top end, slower, better stats. But I wonder if Blizzard put this dude in the game because they were thinking you don't have to travel, you don't have to kill a bunch of mobs to get up to him. He's outside, you know. So you can just you can kill him outside the instance, and that's why it's a little bit nerfed values. I wonder if that was going through their head, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was Yeah, so then the next mob, the last one, Trigor, of course he drops what, a belt and then Serpent's Kiss. So
BOE Axe 2.5. Yeah.
Does that axe have any value for people that aren't going to run Wailing Caverns at level 15? Is it worth coming in here and checking them out during the leveling route? I mean, is it a huge upgrade?
Let's see where he's at. So you enter Wailing Caverns probably from here, right? Then you come in.
Well, he's at the very end.
He's right before you enter the instance, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, someone said you can buy it from the auction house. I didn't realize it was BOE.
Yeah, both of these are. Yeah, Bowen's Axe and this one is BOE as well. That's got to be a factor as well. But yeah, it probably wouldn't be worth it to make your way in there because I think as you enter, there's a bunch of elite raptors, right? And they kind of feel like they respawn really quick and stuff. It's pretty dangerous going in there. But again, like I was talking to Grays about this before we started the stream. Like, if you were a two-man squad, you know, stuff like this becomes a lot more reasonable. You know, you'd be able to handle these mobs a lot better, especially if you have access to healing and stuff like that, right? Whereas opposed to solo, you have no shot. But, you know, to maybe pop in here and see if Boan or Trigor is around, and you might want to, you know, and see if you want to just kill him real quick, and maybe for the gold implications or something like that, it might be worth it. It becomes more worth it to consider that as a duo as opposed to solo. All types of minor accelerations with group leveling.
Yeah. So now let's look at mobs. This is really what I wanted to look at.
Okay.
So the first mob, Druid of the Fang.
Okay.
So guys, look at Druid of the Fang, and we're gonna look at each mob that's found inside of this. We're gonna look at their level range, and their abilities, and I wish again we had the health, arc damage, and attack speed. But look at Druid of the Fang and look at all the spawn locations, guys. Druid of the Fang, they're level 20 to 21. These guys are littered inside every single mob, every single 2 or 3 man group, whatever you want to say it, density.
You think they're the kill priority? They seem pretty strong,
dude,
man. Look at
absolutely,
all this.
because the druid slumber. You literally get a sleep on nearly every encounter that you have in Wailing Caverns because of these guys, and they're level 20 to 21. People don't realize that, but if you have a full group of level 18s, guys, you've got 2 other mobs, and then possibly 2 Druid of the Fangs at 20 to 21 that are elites. And if you have 5 level 18 elite, 5 level 18s, and someone gets put to sleep, dude, you're gonna struggle through here. That's why people try to come in at Wailing Caverns at level 17, dude. And after doing a deep dive on this, and really some of my remembering some of my experience back in the day, at level 17, you're really useless, dude, because Druid of the Fang, they're gonna resist a lot of your spells if you're a spellcaster. You're gonna have a lot more glancing blows and a lot more misses. Even 5 level 18 struggle through Wailing Caverns because of Druid of the Fang. That's it. because they're such a high level and their sleep ability. So that's just something to note. It's such a cool thing. People don't it's part of the game design. And people don't really notice that all the time. But Druid of the Fang being level 20 to 21, like I said, is just insane. Because like Deviate Guardian, well, I wish Sorry,
my bad.
But no, you're good. You're good. Because Deviate Guardian and Deviate Ravager and some of these serpents, they're levels 18 to 19, right? And so people don't think about Druid of the Fang being 3 levels higher than the rest of the mobs. So yeah, they are mob priority.
Okay.
But you're good.
All right, so next one up, we have Deviate Guardian. These are the raptors that drops the Deviate hides, right? Scattered all across, inside, outside.
Yeah.
I tamed one during the demo. It was cool. Getting the blue raptor
That's
skin.
sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Yeah, so the important thing here is really just the level range, and then, of course, the health, armor, attack speed.
Right.
Deviate Crocolisk. These guys, these are the normal, they're non-elites. And it's kind of cool. And this really doesn't add value to this guide. You don't really have to look at this, but from a role-playing perspective and kind of an immersive perspective, like I like to take on a lot of my guides, a lot of my videos, and just my take on vanilla, this guy has Tendon Rip, which is just so cool. As a Crocolisk, he slows your speed by 25%.
I love it. He's biting at your ankles, right? I imagine he's like tearing off your Achilles, you know what I mean? And slowing you down. It's cool. Yeah, very flavorful.
Yeah, so you don't see that unless you freaking research it on the database or you look at a guide that sees, oh, Deviate Crocolisk actually has a Tendon Rip ability. So
yep.
Just,
got evolving
the
ectoplasm. Yep.
Yeah, they're used for the quest for smart drinks, but of course that can be completed outside of the instance again, like we pointed out. Now this part's really cool. Deviate Adders and Deviate Vipers, these guys are found on the west side of the dungeon. And now, again, think in a 2 or 3 man group composition, you're looking at poisons. These guys both have poison abilities, and it's weird, they're both different. One of them inflicts nature damage to an enemy every 3 seconds for 30 seconds, and then the Vipers do 1 nature damage to an enemy every 5 seconds for a minute. Like I said, you're really getting to the nitty gritty here. You're really looking at like 2 different poisons that have a 30-second difference in duration. Is that really beneficial? I don't know at this level. It may not be, but in a 2-man group composition, it might be.
It's a real quick thing. Like, what do you think classes excel the most in Wailing Caverns? I have some thoughts on this, but what do you think? Right off the bat, come to mind is some of the classes that would perform the best in here.
What perform the best?
Yeah, which classes you think would excel?
Number 1, Shaman, because the Tremor Totem, because the Druid of the Fang, and you need Tremor Totem to take away all the sleeps from your group. But Druid is really unique. So and that's the thing, in a 2 or 3 man group composition, Cure Poison from Druid, the Druid class quest that you learn at level 14. And I think who else has a Cure Poison? There's another class that has a Cure Poison ability. You don't use Cure Poison in a 5-man group because it doesn't matter, right? But in a 2 or 3 man group, you're getting these poison ticks. You need someone with Cure Poison to take some of these things off, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's what's really cool about the 2 or 3 man group composition is you make old spells relevant. You have different rotations now because of this play mode that you're in, right?
Right. And
so druids and shamans, that obviously those
a lot of beasts in here that you can hibernate, right? Is the druid?
Yes.
Hibernate is a CC. Hibernate, it's pretty sick, dude.
Mm-hmm. At level 18, I forgot about that. Yes.
Same with Tremor Totem though. Tremor Totem you get at 18 as well. So like honestly, being 18, if you're that class and you're thinking about running Wailing Caverns, maybe wait another level and do it. If it's going to increase the speed in which you complete it, it's another factor to consider, right?
I think everyone should be level 18, especially at these low levels. If you go in at 17, you're missing out on a whole new set of abilities trained to 18. And at low levels, you learn huge abilities like Tremor Totem, like Hibernate. Other classes have they have the next rank to their next ability, which we're going to look at the end of this slide.
It's true. And as you guys know, once you get to that three levels above you, that's a big drop off with spell hit. We've been talking about this, right? You go from like 4 or 5% chance to miss to like 17%, right? So some classes can do it. If you're really trying to push the limits of your efficiency, you might want to get hunters involved because hunters are going to still be able to do a large amount of their maximum damage to higher level mobs. But like casters are going to really struggle if you get to that 3 levels above range. And looking at these mobs now, it seems like the lowest level ones are 18, right? So
right.
And then they go up
but predominantly, like I said, Druid of the Fang is throughout the entire 20 to 21, and people don't realize that. every single encounter you have has one Druid of the Fang in there most of the time. So
That's
something
true.
to consider.
Yeah, and if you have a lot of these mobs that are like 21, you know, and you're 17, you know, or 20 even, you're 3 levels above, like there's a lot of stuff that's 20, right? That's going to potentially pose some issues in terms of heal speed and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So yeah, we can, the Deviant Python there again on. And now let's look at the Deviant Dreadfang and the Deviant Venom Wings. These guys are scattered along the east side, and it's really cool. They're purple and green. What do you call these guys? Freaking
Thunderhawks.
Thunderhawks. So the green guys, they have poison, and the purple guys have fears. And so, again, in a 5-man group composition, those fears aren't that big of a deal. They are, because if they fear you into another group, you're gonna die, obviously. But in a 2-man group, dude, it's heightened times 10, man. If you lose your buddy off to a fear, you're screwed. And so that's the thing. Some classes in Wailing Caverns, in a 2-man group composition, you're gonna need a class that can interrupt that Terrify ability. And if you only have Taurens, you may have to just wait every 2 minutes for that Thunderstomp cooldown. Another thing, in a 2-man group composition, if you're thinking about choosing Tauren or an Orc Shaman, you might take Tauren if you're trying to go for the fastest 2-man speedrun through Wailing Caverns, you might take a Tauren Shaman because of the Thunderstomp ability over the racials for Orcs. And it's just so cool.
Another interesting way to interpret the racials too, right? Like you said, it's another play mode. The racials mean different things. I love that, man. So
yeah,
cool.
The racials mean so much more in a 2-man group composition. Sorry, I know I sound like a broken record.
No, not at all.
But I'm just trying to
Dreadwings, got Deviant Venom Wings, it's got Toxic Spit. Doesn't show how much damage it does. It just like some damage.
So that's the number that I put below it, 37. That's some of that information that you find on the database. They have these numbers in there, and there's no good way for me to really put it on screen, but I try. And like the Terrify, the radius is 5 yards melee range. So I tried to put some of that information in there. But yeah, this game is so deep you can't even display all the information, even in doing like a deep dive like I'm trying to do with this guide. So check this out, Deviant Lashers. Everybody remembers these guys. They have the wide slash ability. And dude, these guys wipe a group so fast because of this one ability. Pull them in
packs, right?
Yeah, and you know it. You know it if you've ever played through Wailing Caverns. But if you didn't know it coming in, if your tank doesn't turn the entire group, doesn't turn the entire pool away from the rest of the group, everybody gets wide slashed. And I mean, dude, it'll take a group down quick. I remember having a group wipe on Deviant Lashers for no reason. They're just trash mobs, literally. But yeah, they become dangerous all of a sudden.
Deviant Shamblers, got some regen here, 3-second cast, something to interrupt, right?
Yeah, that's another cool thing. And again, I know everybody realizes this, and they recognize that Deviant Shamblers have a heal, right? You always see that wild regeneration going. But in a 2-man group composition, you can look at his total health, you can look at his armor, and you can look at his 3-second cast of a wild regeneration and how much health it heals over time, and you can go, okay, we really can't afford this wild regeneration to get off, or if it does, it's only going to take 2 more attacks. It's only going to take 2 more swings to kill this guy. Micromanaging things like that. Yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless whenever you come, like months of content whenever you look at the dungeons this way. It's nuts, dude.
Gotcha.
So, okay. Next, let's move on to extras.
Yeah, I'm in here right now. I'm looking at mob count. I can't believe you counted all these, man. Holy moly.
So originally for the Dead Mines, I counted all of them, but the numbers lined up with the classic database numbers. So I went ahead and I did a rough count in Wailing Caverns, and the numbers looked exactly the same. So I went ahead, and it didn't take as long as you think. But I went ahead and I put all the numbers down. And the reason I put this slide here, guys, is because you can calculate the level range, whether they're elite or non-elite. You can calculate the amount of mobs that you're going to kill. Now, granted, this is an entire run, which you may not clear all the mobs. But with this information, you can calculate how much experience you're going to gain in a 5-man group because you have all the numbers right here, which is huge. This allows you to go, okay, I'm going to spend an hour and a half gaining X amount of experience. Then all of a sudden you go at level 18, right, in a 5-man group composition. Well, now all of a sudden you're in a 2-man group composition at level 20. You can calculate the amount of experience you're going to gain because you have all the information you need right here. And so, like I said, this is a trend with most of the guides, and the way I present this information, I want to give the information in a way that you can create totally different results.
So I have a question.
If that makes sense.
This is, I guess it's not really a question, but what is that? Okay, it is a question. You know that Deviant Hide quest where you get the certain amount? How many do you need again? I guess it shows up here. Let me just scroll
The
up.
Deviant Hides, it's 20 hides, yeah?
20 hides, right? So that isn't a shared quest reward, but so you have listed this settles the issue. You can see how many raptors are inside the instance. You know, people are like, should we run it again? Should we reset how many raptors in here? So there's 30 raptors.
Right. So Deviant Hides can also be completed outside of the instance, so you might be thinking about it a little bit too much. But no, you're exactly right. What's more quest where you have to kill 7 of each mob, 7 of the Deviant Dreadfangs and Venom Wings, and you can look at the map and see where these guys are, but you may not clear all the Deviant Dreadfangs and Venom Wings. But to complete that quest where you kill 7 of each mob, you have to complete the entire instance.
So do the skins or leather or whatever, the Deviant, whatever, does it drop off Crocolists and Vipers and stuff too as well, or is it just the Raptors?
Yes, right? Yes, I think all the beasts drop that. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, gotcha. So there should be plenty then. Okay.
Yeah, there should be plenty. So, but yeah, that's just a really cool spreadsheet laid out there for you to calculate the experience. I think that's beneficial. I think we could, and I didn't do the numbers right now just because we don't have official classic numbers yet, but I think we could see some really crazy numbers coming from the community going, hey, you know, you're going to get X amount of experience. You're going to get, 18 bars full if you come in here with a 5-man group or even a 4-man group. You might calculate 4-man level 18 might give you more experience than a 5-man group and the amount of time spent in there. You get what I'm saying? We're really micromanaging all these numbers here. But
all right, let's go to loot, man. I want to see what kind of juicy loot we can get here. So my mind is looking for weapons. I see Wingblade. There's a sword. Iron level 24 could be consideration for a rogue, right? Wingblade seems. Is that a quest reward? Wingblade?
Yes. So Wingblade is the quest reward next to the Crescent Staff. And like we were saying, you're probably not gonna pick up Wingblade. I pointed it out, but if you were a tank and you were wanting to tank, say, Black Fathom Depths coming up in a few levels, you get an automatic Wingblade for the Horde. That's something to consider. You might take that over Crescent Staff. You probably won't, but you might.
Right.
You might.
I mean, I'd imagine as a rogue you would take it over Crescent Staff, though. It's just choosing between Crescent and Wingblade.
Right, absolutely. So another thing to note, the reason why you might want to do the Glowing Shard in this for Alliance and the Horde, guys, you get Talbar Mantle for that the last boss in Wailing Caverns, for Mutinous the Devourer. You get Talbar Mantle, the best in slot level 19 Twink Rogue, level 19 all hunters as well. Shoulder piece because of the +3 stamina.
Absolutely.
So
that's really only a
incentive.
consideration for Twinks, though. I would agree with you, but going in to do all that work just for a few intellect and stem, while leveling wouldn't be worth it. But if you were trying to go for the the Super Bis Twink at level 19 bracket, makes sense. Yep.
Sure. Absolutely.
That 10 slot bag though is nothing to laugh at, dude.
Yeah.
10 slot bag, dude. Inventory is definitely an issue early.
Do people ever choose the leggings over the 10 slot bag?
I would definitely not do that.
Just like, do tanks ever take the Dagmire gauntlets over the Pattern Deviant Scale belt?
No. I mean, you'd take the gauntlets. I don't know if the pattern would be worth it.
Really? I always figured you'd take the pattern. Maybe it's just more novelty in my eyes. I mean, that's an automatic 2 to 5 gold on the auction house, right? Felt like there'd be more value in that than picking up some gloves.
Maybe if people actually get it, is it because it's like a twink, like a really good twink item or something like that?
Yeah, it's the best in slot Twink Rogue belt recipe.
Okay, then yeah, maybe it is an easy choice, yeah.
And then Sizzle Stick as well. But so real quick before we move on, and you can see some of the quest rewards. They're horde specific, like Serpent Bloom and Leaders of the Fang. Can we do a straw poll on this? Like, would you guys run Wailing Caverns as Alliance? Would it be worth your time or the novelty? Would you spend your time in Classic leveling through as an Alliance character? Would you run Wailing Caverns?
From what perspective, though? From 2-3 man, I don't think it's gonna be worth it. If from a pure efficiency.
Not 2 to 3 man. No, I'm saying like just a normal 5-man group. Are the quest rewards worth it in the time spent traveling to Wailing Caverns?
You can't get Crescent Staff or Wingblade, bro. There's no way. Yeah. There's no way. I don't know. We can. What do you guys think, chat? Yeah, hell no. It would be a massive undertaking to get here as Alliance. The stuff that you really value is the things you value, right? Weapons and guaranteed quest rewards. So Wailing Caverns does have weapons and guaranteed quest rewards, much in the same sense of why BFD is so good for casters getting that Gravestone Scepter. Crescent Staff, I was really kind of undervaluing this. You know, like this whole duo leveling is a game changer. Having this guide here is a game changer. If you're duo leveling and you both need Crescent Staff, I do think that you're reaching that break point towards when this is going to start being worth it to actually do a Wailing Caverns run. You know, whereas if you were solo, you may never reach that break point if you're really trying to level as efficiently as possible. You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. Just like the Horde would never do Dead Mines.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at the. I mean, again, this is just these quest rewards and the boss loot are just laid out for visuals for you guys. And like I was talking to Kargoz earlier before the stream, you can really start to calculate. Okay, but besides the quest rewards, and the experience gained, what about the boss loot and my group composition? How good of a chance do I have at this particular item dropping? And also in my group composition, how good of a chance do I have of winning it against another class that is going to roll for it, right? So that's just another thing you can consider. You can really see all the loot laid out. And you can go, is it worth my time running through this or not? Because if it's just for the experience and literally the experience of running through Wailing Caverns, it might not be worth it, because you're probably not going to see some additional loot rewards.
Yeah, but at the same time, one thing I will say though, right? So people always talk about, you know, min-maxing and efficiency and all this crazy stuff, but everybody has their breaking point. Everybody's going to eventually reach a stage where they're super burned out and they need to take a break. And if this is your idea of a break and you think it's going to be a fun, relaxing thing to do, get into Wailing Caverns, and doing this is going to be able to keep your motivations high, knowing what you know about yourself and, you know, how you operate, then who's to stop you? You know what I mean? You know, so in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's breeze through this. Let's try and get through the bottom of this.
Okay, let me look through. Let me see if anything sticks out, man. Maybe there's something I haven't thought of. So Wingblade and Crescent Staff, these are very worthy considerations. Precious back. I don't see a reason for a class to, you know, potentially get this shield. You know, it wouldn't be super essential. Tail Spike definitely as well. Let's see here. Deep Fathom Ring though. That's from Mutinous. Okay, that's the super high level guy, right? Living Root, another really strong worthy consideration. Venom Strike. There's some good stuff in Wailing Caverns, man. Some good stuff in here.
For sure.
Stinging Viper. Okay. Fire Belcher from the Fairy Dragon. That thing really barely ever spawns though, and these are the guys outside of instance. Okay.
Yeah, and then you have the next slide. This is more of a novelty slide. Nobody has the full Druid of the Fang set, right? Just because, as you can see, the percentages, and these will probably be updated whenever classic comes out. They may not be exact, but some of the set bonuses are really interesting. Like increases damage. The 2 set bonus increases damage done by nature spells and effects by up to 7, right? So Hunter Serpent Stings, Rogue's Poisons benefit from this, and people normally think like I don't know, Hunters and Rogues don't deserve this set. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm just Druid biased on that.
Yeah.
But anyways, this set is
2% on Gloves of the Fang, dude. That is insane.
Yeah, but they're bind on equip. So
yeah, that's super low. So it's just kind of a drop from any of the Druid of the Fangs, but it doesn't seem like there's even that many of them in the dungeon. Maybe there's about like 10, 15, something like that. That's really
what, Druid of the Fangs?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. Is there a lot of them?
Oh, let's look at the mob count, dude.
Okay, yeah, let's take a look.
69, bro. You get 69 chances.
69 chances at Druid of the Fang. Wow.
So that's kind of a cool thing you can Theorycraft whenever you're looking at this. So you might clear more Druid of the Fang. Whenever you're going through the instance, you see that Gloves of the Fang drop at 2%. That gives you more incentive to clear more of these guys. But anyways.
Makes sense. Okay. So now we're moving on to loot notes.
I think we already went over the loot notes pretty much. That was just for me whenever I was looking at this.
Quest rewards. Okay, class selection. What is this slide about?
Okay, so now we're getting to the end of the slide, guys, and this is where I want to take maybe 10, 20, 30 minutes, however long we're going to spend on this, on thinking. Like I said, whenever you think of a 5-man group composition, I see this in guides. Whenever people put them together, they say this is the best 5-man group composition. I kind of think it's a waste of time to come up with the best 5-man group composition, because I think you can formulate any 5-man group at the appropriate level in all the dungeons and be just fine. Obviously,
you'd be just fine, but let's say that you are in the position of wanting to get through this as fast as possible. You're a shaman and a warrior. Right. You're trying to get through this, and you feel like this might be taking an L. You know what I mean? You really want to make sure you don't wipe. If you wipe in a dungeon, man,
Right.
That is so much wasted time right there. So,
That's
you
fair.
know, being able to get the the right people in Baron's chat. Like, let's say if you're Shaman Warrior, you have tank and heal, no problem. You have those covered. Now you can really cherry pick who you want left. Like, who would I want right off the top? Let me see. If I was Shaman Warrior,
Yeah.
the 3 people would probably be,
Oh, I'd go Druid, Shaman, and then some type of healer, I guess.
I would want another person who's kind of a hybrid eke, and we can do off heals. In dungeons, it's really like advantageous
Rogue
for
mage.
to have like 2 people that can potentially heal, because one can dump mana while one conserves mana and gets those spirit ticks, and then you can go back and forth, and you can really have so much more longevity. So I would try and ensure that you get one other person that can heal in the dungeon,
Right.
and then if you're really trying to stretch it, maybe getting hunters. I think hunters are one of the best classes at doing damage to higher level creatures. They don't suffer from a lot of the same drawbacks as other classes do. But I hear your point, though. Yeah.
That's the other thing too. So, yeah, you're right, and I want to make a point on hunters and warlocks and dungeons, dude. The fact that you have a pet is literally an extra player, especially at lower levels. Having that extra person taking damage, and yeah, you might have to heal him, but it really helps on crowd control, even in 2 or 3 man group compositions. Like I said, this idea was inspired by my uncles running through Nomergon with a hunter and a paladin back in the day. They may have been a little bit over leveled. I'm not sure exactly what, but the fact that they had a hunter in there with the paladin healing the hunter pet, that hunter pet and the warlock pet are huge considerations in these group compositions, just to alleviate some of the damage, some of the pain coming from these big groups. But yeah, like some considerations to think about. You can see the list that I've got laid out here. Healers, like if you don't have druids get their resurrection at level 20, right? This is something to think about. If your druid is the only healer and he's level 18 and he doesn't have a res ability, and your group, someone dies in your group halfway through Wailing Caverns, you're going to add an additional 20-30 minutes. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but at least 10 to 15 minutes because your healer doesn't have a res. So that's something to think about. Racials, especially in the 2 or 3 man group composition, crowd control, gear distribution. Whenever I make a Wailing Caverns group as a druid, it's funny, I always try to get a bunch of clothies, right? Because I want all the leather gear to myself. But you could really Theorycraft the best group composition to spread out some of the gear the best way. Resistances, buffs, again, healers, tanks, pets. And this is the other thing, Kargoz, whenever I'm talking about hunter, and this really gets down to 2 and 3 man group compositions, the best hunter pet. And I wanted to make a slide. I know that there's information out there already, but the hunter pets, their armor values, their health values, their abilities. Dude, you could get a hunter pet that is specific to a certain dungeon that disarms all the humans in this dungeon, because there's a ton of humanoids, right? And you specifically get a hunter pet that has disarm just for that one dungeon.
Well, the hunter pets don't have disarm, unfortunately, in vanilla, but...
No, I thought they did, Kargoz.
No disarm. But one thing I'm thinking, though, so...
Okay.
Imagine... Okay, so in order to attract the best players, imagine you are duo leveling, right? Shaman Warrior. You want to go in here, you want to get these Crescent Staffs, but you want to attract good players to pug with in here so you can get this done as fast as possible. You're going to want to try and find people likely where Crescent Staff is going to be beneficial for everybody. Could you find a 5-man group to clear this out as fast as possible where everybody can get a Crescent Staff for their efforts? I think it's possible. I mean, you could get a druid who can make use of the staff if they're potentially a druid who's duo leveling as well with someone else, wants to go that clear cast balance build. You can get a shaman, really makes amazing use of the staff. Warrior makes amazing use of the staff. Who else can use the staff, man? That's pretty good. That's actually going to use it to melee. My question. Let me think. Classes here. So paladins can't use staffs, unfortunately, in their alliance as well. So priests aren't really going to do much meleeing. Man, could you find a group of people who's going to be like a bunch of shamans? Like a bunch of shamans, a druid, and a warrior or something like that to tank?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
And then imagine all 5 of you come out of Wailing Caverns with a Crescent Staff. I don't know. That seems sick to me. That seems kind of sick.
What else are we looking at?
Okay. So we talked about what classes we like. Druids are definitely good. Hibernate, being able to be some sort of viable CC. It's quite nice. Yeah. Also, who's another one would be good? Shamans with the fast interrupts. It feels like there's a massive need for interrupts in here, right? So shamans with the 5 or 6 second interrupt with Tremor Totem at 18. These are
Yeah.
classes that stick out as particularly good.
Yeah, you definitely want a mage for polymorph or a rogue for sap, for sure.
Yeah,
Just because you'll have 2 or 3 Druid of the Fangs littered
It's
in
true.
with another mob or 2.
sap can be a little bit wonky though, in the sense that you are going to drop stealth after using it in vanilla too.
Sure, sure.
Resistances and buffs. Yep. Okay, let me see here. You got some classes here laid out. Axe specialization. Oh, interesting. You have the racials laid out here.
Right. So these are all the racials that you can look at. Again, this is heightened in that smaller group composition. And then it, guys, if you don't see, it might be easier for you to look, unless you're looking on mobile or something. You might not be able to do this. I'll link the slide one more time. These next slides coming up, and this might be overkill, guys, but the reason I did this is because people tell me, this is the best group composition. This is how you should do it. I really want to see numbers. I really want to see abilities, and I want to know why it would be that, right? So on these next few slides, I listed every class's abilities up to level 20.
Oh, the ability progression. That's right. This is really juicy stuff, man. Yeah, this is great.
Well, and what's crazy about this is you can downrank. You can look at all the rank 1, rank 2 spells, so that you can really micromanage your rotation, right? I'm gonna cast 3 frost bolts, and then I'll have just enough mana for a rank 1 frost bolt, right? Or druids, you can look. I got them at the very end. You don't have to show it on the slide, particularly right now. But you have just enough mana that you can creep in like a rank 1 rejuvenate, or whatever. Like you can really micromanage your rotation.
Let me try and think. What do you think, right off the top of the head, would be the best if you actually tried the 2-man Wailing Caverns, dude? You would have to have potential wipe prevention baked in somehow. You would have to have the ability to heal. Probably both would have to be able to heal. That's what I'm guessing, unless you were super over leveled. Do you have any guesses of what you think the best 2-man attempt on Wailing Caverns would be, in a somewhat a level appropriate class combination?
So I'll tell you, my best 2-man group composition in a lot of these dungeons are going to be, and this is in terms of speed running, are going to be 2 druids because of the stealth ability, or a druid and a rogue. And like you pointed out, Kargoz, and I've been hearing you talk about the ability of rogues whenever they're in a group composition. And what is it, backstab you're talking about? You can really overload backstab?
Backstab and ambush, so both of them can be really greatly dramatically ramped up, through speccing differently, and also the idea that the druid is able to have some sort of hard taunt, so you can make sure you can be able to hit him from behind is really quite nice.
Yeah. So I mean, two players that could stealth through these zones, stealth through these dungeons would be advantageous in terms of time. But whenever you're doing these things, whenever you're recording a run and you say, hey, I'm the only 2-man group that cleared Wailing Caverns, time isn't gonna be on your side. You're probably gonna spend 2-3 hours in a dungeon. But I mean, it's vanilla WoW, right? It's not everything is about time.
I'd love to see this in practice too, because the thing is, with stealth, if you're around the same level, like the druid stealth and rogue stealth, if you guys know about vanilla, man, that stealth is pretty underwhelming. Unless you fully spec into it. So maybe druids, I think it's a tier 2 talent, they'd be able to get that improved stealth prowl that might be able to be the breaking point. But there's a chance with these high level mobs, man, that they will detect you. I'm not sure, but again, this is the type of thing where you're gonna have to refine your path through the dungeon. I could totally see that though, double druid. That seems that honestly would probably be my pick as well. One druid could stay in bear form, roll some hots, and then just taunt the other druids from behind, shredding. You have to be at 20 though. That's the only thing. But I assume you couldn't be below 20 anyway if you're gonna try and 2-man this. So, yeah.
Yeah. You'd probably push the limits. Like I said, I'd probably put the level cap on run, because once you hit 22, you just get a whole new set of abilities. So being level 21 druids, I potentially could see you clearing all these mobs. I mean, like you said, it'd be cool to see it in practice and see people actually do it. I think it's possible. With 2 druids, you'll also be on bosses. You'll be kiting the boss in between each other. So you really have to control the aggro. That's another game mechanic that you have to balance in these group compositions that you wouldn't do otherwise. Right. That's kind of neat. Right. But yeah. So, and again, like I said, most of the guides, the way I put these things together, I give you all the things you could have whenever you're choosing your best 2-man group composition, right? You could see who has the best down rank spells, who has the best rank 1 spells. I'm
overthinking
it.
There's some juicy stuff now. Like I'm looking right now. So King's at 20, having them all right next to each other too, you can kind of see what kind of tools you could work with, right? I'm assuming, what would be the lowest level you could two-man Wailing Caverns though, man? You think you could do it at 22? Like, that seems... Ooh, man, dude. Maybe.
I think you could. Well, again, this is... there's novelty achievement, and that's really one of the biggest reasons I want to do it, just to kind of prove everybody wrong, right?
Yeah.
Or not that everybody doubts it, but a lot of people don't think it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, and also, I mean, if you were to put some sick gear on him, imagine you were to funnel some really sick gear down to him,
right?
And consumes and stuff. I think you could, yeah, if you could funnel some stuff down.
Right. Then we get into consumes. You might go engineering and have certain engineering abilities, or items that you would have to use to get through this as a two-man group. That's a whole. You open up a whole nother can of worms with that.
Totally.
But that's the fun in it, right? I mean, this is content that's untouched. This is never ending.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Age. Ambush at 18. Kick. I'm looking for something really juicy that would be good here.
I mean, you have interrupts. Interrupts are big, right? Warriors have a shield bash, but are warriors really good in a 2 or 3 man group composition? The survivability of them, at least.
Yeah, I mean, you're not quite there. Multiple warriors in a group setting would be good if once you have Wind Fury Totem and access to your cleave package with sweeping strikes and cleave and whirlwind and all that. But early, yeah, I feel you. Nothing to write home to mom about. Very interesting stuff, though, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's an interesting thought, and stuff may not be done for a month or two down the road. Honestly, I'm probably not going to do this for a couple months just because there's so much content in vanilla to do otherwise. But as soon as it just starts to get a little bit stale, or, you know, I want to change the whole meta, I want to break the world by saying, hey, dude, look at this video of me two-manning freaking Wailing Caverns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the novelty behind it.
That'd get some attention, man. 2 level 22 druids come in and solo Wailing Caverns. I'd watch that. That sounds dope. Yeah.
Right. So that's really a lot of the inspiration behind this idea. And then I'm gonna tailor these dungeon guides because I need these dungeon guides whenever I'm gonna two-man these, right? Like, if I'm gonna make this work, this is really for my benefit, and that's why I put it together. But it's kind of neat that I can share with everybody else too.
Absolutely. I mean, this guide is incredibly helpful, dude. Like, seriously, imagine having this pulled up on your other monitor as you're doing this, guys. In Real Classic, in a few months, we're gonna be there, and you're gonna be making your way through Wailing Caverns, and having this on your second monitor, even no one want to know about Wailing Caverns at this point, this would help me, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Being able to have these maps.
Kargoz, look at the best heals list real quick. I don't know if this is worth looking at.
Yeah, let's take a look. So you can calculate the DPME at these different ranks. I mean, the HPME, sorry.
Right.
Yeah. So these are the ranks you have access to at what, 20? Or what is this up to?
Yeah. These are all level 20. I've got all the abilities listed up to 20.
Okay.
And so you can really see like the benefits of bringing different healers to the group. You can see the resurrections. I didn't put the buffs for like paladins. They didn't fit just because, like I said, this is a rough draft. I was putting it together. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to format future guides. Maybe, like I said, it's just overkill putting all the ranks on for this list.
The rebirth is huge, dude. Like, that's 400 health, 700 mana is actually pretty decent. Like, right at level 20. Like, being able to res someone with that. Oh, man, that's super good.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. Think about that. Like, if you need an extra res, like if you're in a 2-man group composition, your man goes down, or maybe let's even go 3. So let's go 3 level 18 druids. That would even be a novelty, right? That'd be and the 2-man thing is kind of out there, guys, and I know a lot of people are doubting it. I think it's possible, and I think it's going to be done, but really the juicy stuff is going to be a 3-man group composition. And you could really see some crazy plays with 3-man druids, and one druid goes down.
Best 3-man. What do you think? You think it'd be 3 druids? I think at that point you'd probably go druid, rogue, or something like that. Maybe the rogue is just providing so much damage at that point.
Right.
I like this. Yeah, I like stacking stealth. Stacking stealth seems pretty cool.
Yeah, or I like stacking warlocks and hunters.
Warlocks and hunters.
Just because of the pets, and a druid throwing a heals or something. I don't know.
I don't think anything's going to be able to beat those skipping mobs. Like, even if you can skip 1 or 2 packs, I feel like that's just going to move the needle so much. Like, yeah.
I think the same thing too, and obviously it's going to basis. It'll be different for every single one, but there will be like a competitive side to this, getting through this as quickly as possible, but also the novelty of you sending in a video submission of you doing some crazy group composition with you and your 2 buddies, right? And so that's the novelty behind this as well.
So
but I don't know.
I want to touch on the Leaders of the Fang. This is the quest that gives you Crescent Staff, right? So my bottom line takeaway for me personally that I'm really going to factor into my decision making and line of play if I were to level a class that could make use of Crescent Staff would be able to, how do I weave in this Leaders of the Fang quest chain organically into my natural leveling progression? So this is something. These are the prerequisites, right? Before you can get Leaders of the Fang.
Yeah.
Up here, right? So the Barren Oasis. This is something you can pick up in Thunderbluff if you happen to be training in Thunderbluff, but you don't need this, right? You can just pick up Forgotten Pools in the Crossroads. So if you are going to do a level, find a way to bake these quests in organically into your leveling experience, and you really don't have to take it. It really is not. These aren't super clunky quests, guys. Like you do these anyway. You know what I mean? Forgotten Pools, you go swim to the bottom of that thing. Stagnant Oasis, Altered Beings. I forgot which one that is. Is that the might be the turtle one or something like that. But you know these are pretty organic quests, and then you get this Leaders of the Fang thing, and you're already in the Barrens. You're already doing your thing here. You may have already gone to Stone Talon. You've come back, pop into Wailing Caverns, carve out an hour, take a little bit of an L. And then you come out of it with double Crescent Staff. I don't know, you guys. How is that not worth it? That seems worth it if you're playing duo leveling and you can both make use of it. That's insane.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good note. It's a good thing to highlight because I think it will be more efficient. And like we pointed out, there's 4 quests that can be completed outside of Wailing Caverns, so you don't even have to run Wailing Caverns to get this additional experience from the quests and the elite mobs. So, I don't know. Something to think about. Something to think about.
Yep.
But yeah, that's pretty much the Wailing Caverns Theorycraft dungeon guide for now. I wish we could put it into practice. I wish we could really micromanage or all these abilities and all these things and test them out, but we'll see. The plan is to get all the dungeons set up in a way that I'll be able to update the numbers come Classic, so you'll really be able to use it as a legit strategy guide as you're trying to do these 2 or 3 man group compositions and look at all the abilities of each boss. So that's the plan between now and Classic, and then during Classic, that's going to be my thing after we get through some of all the other content. Once I level in Alter 2, I'll end up once like on my 2nd or 3rd, I'll start doing 2 or 3 man dungeons, and just because that's the kind of content that I'll be in.
So are you going to plan on doing these for all the dungeons?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I don't know what's going to happen in some of the higher dungeons. Rough draft with Wailing Caverns. It was easier to do because it's in the lower level bracket, but I imagine it's going to get insane.
I mean, dude, a lot of work went into this, guys. You really have to, you know, I do really think this is a valuable resource. I'm probably going to bookmark this, and I've just learned something from it, man. It's hard, you know, when it's presented in this format, it's such a nice thing. I've got some key takeaways. 7 quests from Wailing Caverns, 2 are horde related. The whole thing with the Crescent Staff, man, like, you know, the abilities of the bosses, though. How many bosses? Like, this is real good stuff you're creating here, man. So keep doing your thing, dude. I really appreciate your hard work here. So where can people find you, man? Is it you on Twitch, you on YouTube, you're on where's it?
Yeah. So I've got Twitch and YouTube right now. Graysfordays. You can find it on either one, just with that one keyword. Yeah, dude. I'm not streaming at the moment. I'm trying to get some stream content that I can digest. Putting these dungeon guides together, it'll give me things that I can talk about. But of course, whenever Classic comes out, we'll be streaming it all the time. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of guides.
What are your plans for Classic, too? Sorry, just keep going what you're saying.
Yeah. My plans for Classic, as in just
how hard are you going, man? 1 to 10. Let's see it in the chat, man. I like to do this, actually. It's kind of a fun exercise. I want to see how hard everyone's going come Classic. What are you thinking at this point? 1 would be like playing like 2 hours a week, and 10 would be complete poop sock.
Nah, dude, like I'm going poop sock just like everybody else.
Poop sock? Like, Graysfordays going poop sock, dude?
Dude, Kargoz, like to the point that I'm probably gonna take my last semester off of school to do this for a while and see how it goes. So no, like I'm my plans for Classic WoW are to do everything else that everybody else is doing, but I want to create this whole new dungeon meta. That's one thing that I'm really gonna drive home. And like Kargoz, you said with your speed leveling route, it'd be kind of interesting to see some of these things baked into the community. But like whenever I'm making guides, the presence that I'm gonna have on Twitch, I don't want to just be another Twitch streamer. Like I said, if you can make money just playing the game, I think that's fantastic. Like and that's the value you bring. You're an entertainer. That's cool. But I really want to bring more value to the table than just being another face, being another streamer. Whether it's through these guides, like I said, if this thing got so big, I'd end up wanting to fund a website for it where we could track things like the mythic rating they do in retail, or have some additional add-ons, or like I'm gonna have a weekly highlight stream. If you guys watch Hearthstone and Trollden, he does, daily highlights that people send in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So things like that's the kind of presence I want to have. That's the kind of impact I want to have in the community. Is adding value. So I don't know, that those are my plans for Classic. Absolutely. And we're I'm on the ClassicWow.live team with you guys, making content right now, trying to make forum posts, trying to make videos, and like I said, promote the content creation side of things. I really want like a big push for the community. It's so neat, dude, and I just realized it with this website, but I want to see so much content coming from the community, not just content creators. And so we had some ideas of making videos of people, how we make content, how we do things. And with these guides, you're going to be able to make 2 or 3 man content, right? You're going to be able to come up with crazy 2 or 3 man group composition videos. You could talk over, you could send them in as submissions, just things like that. I mean, we're creating a whole new game mode, a whole new play mode. This is increasing the longevity of Classic WoW. People say Classic WoW is going to die out in 2 or 3 years whenever there's nothing to do. This is a whole nother unexplored.
I think it's great, man. And the good news is that most people, I put how hard are you going 1 through 10, and I put an 11 option. 11, dude. People are going full poop sock mode, dude. That's poop. What poop sock? It's probably poop stocking at that point, dude. People are going poop stocking, man. Come Classic. I love it. I appreciate what you do, Grays, man. The passion is real. It really shows. You're putting in some serious hours into making these resources for the community. So I'm really glad we're able to get together and do this. I really love this stuff, man. So please sub him, guys. Sub him, follow him, support him. He's a very great up and coming content creator, and we hope to see more from you, man.
Appreciate it.
So you have any final words for the people, man?
Final words, final thoughts. Jeez, I don't know. Do I have any final words for the people? No, I don't. I'm sorry, Kargoz. I'm cracking. I'm breaking right now, guys.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, it's all good.
It's Friday. What's everybody doing on this Friday afternoon? I'm about to go out with the lady. Maybe get a couple drinks, call it a night.
Boss lady? Yeah, I might do the same thing, actually. I might go to a restaurant or something like that. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this stream. I appreciate your time today. It was a really fun one. I'll be back probably Monday, maybe this weekend. I don't have a drill or anything crazy going on this weekend, so I might do a stream this weekend. Not sure. I hope you guys are able to take some stuff away from this one. Again, follow Graysfordays. I'm going to go pass you guys off to Def Camp, who's just getting started here on Twitch, for those of you who are on Twitch, and you guys probably know Def Camp by now. Def Camp and Meldoron are my brothers from another mother, from the city of brotherly love. So I'm going to go ahead and host Def Camp now, guys. I hope you have a great Friday. If I don't hear from you this weekend, we'll catch up Monday morning. Thanks again, everybody. I'm going to end the stream here.